Previously, in the Age of Ashes. At the end of the feast, I told the story of our people and the banishment of the darkness. The first people that the darkness found were a brave people who stood before the darkness and did not run. At last, the greatest among the people, the kindest, the most righteous, gave their lives to forge their souls into weapons. The people trapped it in the space between spaces. The people swore they would stand guard so the darkness could never escape to threaten the lands again. And as promised, I told the party what I knew of the Cinder Claws here in Mwangi. You have come here through Hunter's Gate, seeking, I assume, to track the cultists who invaded your lands, yes?
Indeed.
You, I assume, saw that pillar, a conduit of some kind. No power of its own, but channeling. We cannot travel more than a few miles east or south without blindness.
Well, that won't do.
It means we are powerless to stop them. The journey ahead of them is long. The jungles truly vast. Are you guys ready to go old school?
Woo,
Because it's exploration time.
All right.
A fairly large area of it for you to explore. Kind of outlining most of the area around where this blindness is affecting them. She also mentions that down to the south, almost due south of here and across the river, you may be able to find some assistance. Still more. And the bag that she had on the ground, she just kind of picks up. Pretty big around, like a foot across. Just a huge round sack with a rope drawn around it at the top, a loose neck hanging. Magic sack.
Magic sack.
Open.
Is there a fish in there?
I'll open it.
Confetti.
Snakes.
Two kinds of people.
Every time, there's always snakes.
As you open the magic sack here. What a wonderful journey into the beginning of the jungles it has been. But we are only just barely getting started on this particular leg of our adventure.
We can do walking through the forest. Yes!
Stop.
So as we left off last week, we had made our way back down through some stretch of friendlier terrain, not too far from Ackerville, back down to Hunter's Gate and the old temple ruins in which it resides. We arrived there, looked around, inspected the strange totem the Cinder Claws have been building briefly, and then were set upon by a pretty massive tarantula that just came stampeding out of the tree line as Buddy began just smacking the totem with his hammer, creating a whole lot of general noise and seeming to anger the local wildlife. Quickly dispatching that with only a brief, minor scolding from Volley about tactics that we are becoming all too familiar with at this point. We long for a friend who is not familiar with Hell Knight battle strategy. And maybe someday we'll get... We have Renali. Renali has nothing to say about your tactics. Renali's just like, go team! Spectral Cat. Like, that's about all.
Can we
she's
leave
doing.
yet?
Yeah, I'd like to go now. Thank you. Can I eat that? She's her own speed of things. But as we were wrapping up the last session, as we were interrupted by this spider, I believe the group of you had been finishing your investigations of the totem. You
I put it in my
up,
pocket.
Yep, by shrinking the totem down to basically nothing, and quite literally popping it in your purse. And you had discovered a gold bar that had been left pretty much alone in a small sack next to this half-finished totem. You were using your alchemist kit to try to identify it.
Yes, I was.
Spider interrupted that.
Yep.
So as that finishes, what is your craft modifier?
It is plus 13.
That's 13. Pretty good.
You crafty.
So it takes you some time, some amounts of experiments and some, well, stretches with some solutions to kind of suss out exactly what is this strange glimmer on this thin golden ingot. But largely just, not because it's like a rare or esoteric substance, just because there is such a small trace amount of it. And you discover two things of interest. First of all, it's not coating the bar so much as it is that the gold itself is actually a little impure. And the sheen, though it looks almost like an oily green film on the outside, permeates the whole ingot. Secondly, it's another raw element, so it doesn't seem... I mean, this could be done via alchemy or someone doing this intentionally, but it almost seems like it's just a strange feature of the raw gold itself and where it was harvested that wasn't something that was able to be smelted out. But it's actually fairly trace amounts of arsenic.
Arsenic. That's interesting.
No, thank you. I'll like my water without poison.
Well, I wasn't suggesting we eat it, but apparently there's arsenic mixed in with the gold for some reason.
Huh. Why would they do that? Why would anyone do that?
I mean, it's possible they're just inept and can't properly purify the gold, but...
Maybe that was the purification process.
Can I-
somehow ended up with this?
Can I think of any reason why somebody would do that? Like, is it, like, could it be something natural? Like, could this have happened naturally?
They're just two, like, gold and arsenic are just two pure elements.
Yeah,
so it's
So
like,
maybe it
those
just
are-
happened.
That this is entirely reasonable if it's naturally occurring and there's just an arsenic-tainted gold mine that this came from. That's, in fact, more than likely. It certainly would not be impossible to create this, although it would be pretty extraordinarily difficult. And why you
Why
would
would you
do
do
that?
it? Yeah.
When you, if you're going to put that much effort in, you have the tools to lace the gold, and you were trying to use it to transport some method of poison, certainly you would use a much stronger poison with the resources you had available. Because while arsenic is deadly and dangerous, it's only so strong
Well, I mean,
compared
if
to
you
the
don't eat it.
Yeah, if you don't eat it, like if you're just barely, I mean, because yeah, you can handle gold. You should probably wash your hands. You can like handle the gold and then eat some food, and you get incredibly trace amounts of arsenic poisoning. But if you have the alchemical equipment to do this, again, you can make something much deadlier.
Yeah. Huh.
I-
Well, I guess
I-
I'll
I will
keep it
wash my
separate.
hands.
I'll just keep it separate for now. And
That said, with your assessment there and with your skills and your alchemical kit, you're fairly certain that you could treat the gold to remove the small, very trace amounts of arsenic that are laced through it and end up with a normal golden ingot.
Could I salvage the arsenic?
That would be difficult. It is a very trace amount.
Oh, okay.
There's bound to be a source of it somewhere.
So there's not enough that I could get like a dose of this stuff out
Yeah,
of it.
even what's in the gold bar wouldn't be enough to like poison a single arrow with, really. It's enough to, if you handled it and then ate, maybe make you sick. Prolonged exposure could be dangerous, but you could like stick this whole gold bar in your mouth and probably be mostly okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to do that
You
then.
probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
though. I mean,
okay.
I'm not advising that you stick the gold bar in your mouth.
I mean, that would probably be probably downtime or something, because I'd have to probably go melt the thing down and then like separate it out and skim an area off of it.
Well, you could do it alchemically. You wouldn't actually need a forge. Basically, you wouldn't remove the arsenic so much as you would be able to
Like-
functionally dilute it to the
Okay.
point where the gold wasn't dangerous anymore. It still wouldn't be perfectly pure gold, but it'd be not in any way dangerous gold.
Oh, fair enough. That'll be something that we could do. Yeah, I mean, I should. It's fairly late in the day. I doubt we could really make much more progress until tomorrow. Anyway, the sun's gonna go down. So if we're gonna make camp here, if this is something that I can do and not waste time.
Yeah, we don't think it would take you that long, and while you're getting ready to set up for camp, waiting for Renali to come around with wherever she's going to be prepared for the night anyway, it's something you can certainly tend to.
Sure.
Speaking of Renali, as you finish this assessment and get to thinking, as Valia has returned back to the gate to her brief studying of a blank freestanding wall as far as it really seems, with some fancy engravings around it. Renali comes rushing out of the tree line. And she sees the group of you and looks around, almost in a bit, not of a panic, but clearly on edge, on high alert. Sees the spider, the massive tarantula that has been tossed, and the blackened and possibly gently smoldering area around where it was subjected to multiple fireballs. Appropriate reactions to a giant spider, though, I can't blame you at all.
Kill it with fire.
We're gonna burn this forest.
You are
down.
all fine. You are all good. Oh, as expected, but I was worried now that we are in their lands, and I did not know how many they brought.
There's more?
This creature is something that the Cinder Claws you make use of?
If they have, this is news to me, but I was preparing for camp, and the Echo scouts, they said they had seen Cinderclaw magic back at the gate. They were massing forces to come back.
Oh.
Oh, they likely saw what we were doing and took it the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, it's best not to alarm them. Yes,
Not
we were attacked by
Cinderclaws.
the spider, and both Rur and Resme have fire magic that they were using to subdue it. So if that was what they saw, then it's not the Cinder Claws.
She kind of relaxes a bit. Okay, well, that is better, certainly. Though, that you certainly put the scouts on edge.
We have a pretty healthy dose of pyromania in this party. You better warn them that this isn't going to be the last time they see fire.
I think that the Leopard clan have put more of their faith in you and than me. Maybe, perhaps, is best from your mouth.
Yes.
They are. She stops, just kind of looks down for a minute, and Valia's turned away from the gate, and still over there, but just kind of looking and listening. Her bag on the ground and some tools in her hands. Your reception is certainly unique among the Ekujai.
Well, they seem very friendly.
That is not something most people would say. But to you, they are, and for now, that is all that is needed. Yes?
I think so.
Esvis, perhaps if you can find the scouts at some point, you can let them know that we have casters in our party. So if they see magic, it's not necessarily... They shouldn't assume that it isn't the Cinder Claws, but it may not be.
Real quick, from my wonderful mimic here, Link 1429. You know where this one's going. You know how to counter a PC with 50 hero points? Funnel villain points into the GM. Easy. For my own stash. I'm ready. I'm ready for action. Also, thank you.
I'll inform the scouts if necessary. Otherwise, while you are preparing your tinctures, I'm going to go see if spider is edible.
Ew.
I think the scouts were running word back to Lacrivel. They may be here in the morning with reinforcements.
Oh,
If we are leaving, I do not know
well,
if...
we're not going to catch them at this point.
Probably not.
I mean, I might be able to. Do I think that if I could get through the jungle and be way faster than I am right now, that I could catch them?
Well, but the thing is, you don't know where exactly they are, where they're going. I mean, theoretically, yes, but the distance from Akravel back, or back here, is 10 miles. So, depending on where you intercept them, even if you were much faster, you may not be able to even return back to the camp until way later at night or even the following morning by the time you caught them.
Well, do you bring that pigeon bird with you, or can that thing send, like, messages or anything, or is that just for...
I wouldn't set him free in this forest. There's too many predators that would eat her.
What?
Oh.
She's small.
Oh, yes.
She picks her up and goes like this, and he looks at you with kind of disgust. Like,
Just holding the bird. Like I hold a dingus, just bird.
Old burb like hamburger.
Whole verb like hamburger.
put him on my head. Kind of
And
nestles down.
well, if we are to rest, are we staying here at the gate?
Yes.
And she pats a fairly large satchel that you can tell is bulging on her hip. I have prepared supplies, and I should be able to set up a camp well enough. Do you have the netting the Ekuj I gave you?
Ah, yes.
It will help.
Magic sack.
Regular sack. And she opens that up and starts pulling out very long lengths of a very light beige, almost off-white silk. Bolts and bolts and bolts out of this bag. And she kind of looks at Resume as she says a little awkwardly. But she's got a huge amount of it that she's prepared to set up some tents and shelters with.
Resume eyebrow goes up a little, but that's about it. Yeah, you guys don't need to know. It's okay.
So over the remainder of the evening here, she is going to take your bedrolls, your mosquito netting, what tents you have, and this pretty huge amount of silk that she has acquired. Attempts to put together a decent shelter for the group of you. She's got plenty of time to do it. She is going to put together something that looks relatively functional. It's not... The first thing you notice is that she heads over out past the edge of the ruins a little into the nearby tree line and doesn't put anything on the ground. She uses a lot of this silk to anchor between a couple of closer trunks with some supporting branches and functionally make a gigantic, more tensile hammock a few feet off of the ground that all of your bedrolls go up in, that she kind of arches over with lengths of this mosquito netting, almost making a whole capsule just a few feet removed from the jungle floor itself. Valia...
On the off chance that she does fail, I'll give her a reroll.
Well, you want her to reroll or not? Because it's even if it wasn't her doing it, it's a secret check. Because it's not like you could look at it and tell if you succeeded.
A halfling luck.
Oh,
Is
it's just
if you
Yeah,
fail.
it only
Fail.
works
Okay,
if
fair
she
enough.
fails.
So
Fair
just
enough.
if she fails, just
So, as the sun sets over the next hour or two, Valia, finishing her investigation, packing a couple of simple tools and another book from her bag away, and slinging her pack back over her shoulder, will approach the rest of the group. Around when you're wrapping up, trying to dilute this arsenic and make the gold safer. Possibly around the time you're all preparing dinner or resting for the evening. She rejoins the group. Well, it's certainly something. It's not easy to parse this gate, this Ayudara. These ancient pathways, whatever they are, seem to be near just total standing stones in their inactive state, barely resonating any magical signatures whatsoever. Certainly interesting, then. So, I'm not looking to pry, really, and if this is too much into your own affairs, of course, I apologize. You need not answer. But the group of you had arrived here through this gateway, what the Ekuj I refer to as Hunter's Gate.
Yes,
correct?
just so.
So you were able to activate it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
For lack of real understanding, perhaps on my own part, and the sake of bluntness, how exactly? How is the gate opened?
Well, I mean, it's the actual mechanics of it. It kind of escaped me. Resume may be better to explain the workings behind it.
Well, it needs a key. The key is specially, keyed to the gate with a magical signature that is very complex and overlaid with multiple enchantments that have multiple purposes And I could get really technical with you if you wanted me to.
Oh, I know I'd been missing the basis level of this. I hadn't understood these ancient pathways, of course. It seems simple now, or activated by a separate relic. Key seems apt enough at times.
Yeah, but beyond that, actually, there was quite a deal of work we had to do. The Cinder Claws actually made a sortie through it, which drew our attention to this place, and they apparently caused a great deal of damage. We had to actually do quite a number of repairs.
So this was how you would acquire your key, then?
We got it from
I
them.
imagine wrested it from the hands of the Syndicate that
Exactly.
arrived up in Eastwood.
It is also nearly impossible to currently traverse due to, what did they call that thing in there?
The darkness.
The darkness.
But basically,
Very
some-
angry god.
it's not
So I
not
had
Sort
no-
of fire spirit.
No mind to attempt to traverse the ring myself. Not that I am suspicious or doubtful of what the ancient elven kind were capable of, but simply have no reason to. And something this ancient, a relic that's lasted through generations, centuries, or, if history is to be believed, even millennia, this gate itself may date back to pre-Earthfall times.
it's distinctly possible.
Magic is an interesting force, is one thing that my father certainly instilled in me, and one that requires a great dedication of knowledge and understanding. And a relic of this level of power to have lasted so long is not something I would be looking to attempt to pass with reckless abandon, without proper preparations. But you five came through. 6, even. I'm sorry, Benali it was? You came along with them, correct? And she just kind of nods, still really not able to follow Valia as she's talking super well. So it's functional then, and if not safe, at least passable.
For the most part, yes.
So this gateway leads back to a full ring of Ayudara.
Well, perhaps at once they did. They're still very heavily damaged. Only this one is currently functional. Although, if we're able to find the keys somewhere, maybe we could get them up and running as well.
That's certainly interesting. Look around this entire temple grounds. There's nothing but ruined stone and rubble, and yet the gateway itself still standing untouched, nearly unmarred. Throughout all the passages of time, even though the temple itself has been ransacked and nearly removed from the face of the world.
I think it has a lot to do with the nature of how they set up the intermediate passage. It's unique. The way they built it was unique. I've studied Ayudara fairly extensively at this point, and I can tell you that I've never seen anything like this, and I think they built it that way for a reason.
Well, a reason, or perhaps it was just a different time. Much like the study of technology and science has advanced throughout the ages, so too is the understanding of magic. And, well, pre-Earthfall, things may have just been done a different way. There may not have been simpler solutions. Intermediary may have been the only way to have a stable connection between two locations so far aflung from each other.
Maybe it would be easier if we could avoid redundancy in the conversation if you tell us your interest in the Ayudara and sort of how much you know so that we can talk on more even footing.
Well, I can summarize that fairly simply. As the fortunate news, I know precious little. I know that they exist, and I know that this Ayudara here in Hunter's Gates and its links back in Eastern Isker may be the oldest Ayudara in existence. At least the oldest that's still standing or in any way functional, holding any amount of the magic it once had. I know that it functions differently and that it's been functionally unusable for centuries. And, well, I appear to have arrived at a fortunate time. There's a great gap in the knowledge available in the books and scholarly tomes of the libraries and the archives of Haldor, of Isker, of Cheliax, of near all the inner seas, about this ring specifically and the origins of Ayudara. And as, well, forgive me as I mean this in no way to be pandering or pedantic, but magic truly is similar to the sciences of mathematics even. It builds on itself. An understanding of the basis levels of the origins helps in functioning and developing future magics. But shortly, whatever keeps this Ayudara functional, whatever makes this ring and its source back in Isker still work thousands of years later, whatever allowed it to survive the Earthfall, is a powerful enchantment. And it's powerful magic. especially given its origin. It's information that could be useful. Up in Taldor, in particular, in recent months, a network has been beginning construction. Teleportation circles throughout the major cities, Casimir, Opara, Yanmis, Zima, linking various corners of the country together. It's been a mighty undertaking, spearheaded by a truly impressive amount of gold, but it seems somewhat limited. It seems like the magics required should not be so complex as they are. There must be a simpler way, basically put.
I think it's the difference between having an innate understanding of the forces, being born with it running through your veins, and studying it as a scholar would. If you understand one way, I had to work my way backward. I was born with magic.
Sorcerer.
And I do not know why it flows through my blood the way it does. And the way I understand magic is fundamentally different.
It certainly doesn't impart you with less knowledge, perhaps a different one. I don't share the opinion of many wizards, those who have studied in various colleges and worked most of their lives to gain the smallest trace amounts of magic that would look down upon such a gift. I was born, well, I suppose you'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. Some of this power that I have does appear to be innate. Well, I don't want to burden you with my personal trials, but perhaps I'd had no opportunity to improve upon them and learn as I had if, well, I hadn't started from somewhere other than zero.
It's... As I said, I think that the reason why you feel the magics are different and their natures are different is because I think fundamentally they are. I think the way elves understand magic and the way a wizard, a human, would understand magic is fundamentally different. We see it as a force, like nature, like anything else. It's natural. It flows through our blood, and it's not something that we work. It's something that we learn, like any other tool, but it's here. And I think if something is like your own heartbeat, it's very hard to think of it any other way.
Well, certainly a very interesting insight, Miss Galanore, and I thank you for it. But it seems that regardless of its source or its purposes, fortune is on my side to have arrived here when I have. This may be the only point in recent history where any outsiders have been able to traverse these lands. Miss Rinaldi here is not wrong. The Ekujai are, as she said, far from friendly.
I thought they were very friendly, but I guess perhaps they like my hair.
If I may, I would not make the mistake of finding desperation as friendship. The Ekujai have nowhere else to turn, as I understand it. They're up against a force they have no power to stand against, and they have no choice but to turn to outsiders.
That's true enough, but
They understand enough of the cultures of the world and the interactions of society outside of theirs to know that perhaps they stand better chances should they put forward a friendly face. But I, again, would not mistake this for proper friendship.
well, they've dealt fairly with us so far and have yet to break a promise or go back on their word. So until they do, I shall give them the benefit of the doubt, but I will take your wisdom into mind nonetheless.
It may perhaps be a bleak outlook of mine, and perhaps due to my upbringing, but I imagine that the Ekujai now may see the group of us the same way that I or many back in Taldor would see this gate. It's a tool, and one that could be very useful.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a relationship built off of mutual advantage.
No, that is the basis for most diplomacy, truth be told.
And fair enough. After all, certainly we would not be able to succeed in our objective to go and see the Cinder Claws seen out and make safe our home were it not for the support of the Ekujai.
That's astute.
And
all right.
perhaps what is simply an ally of convenience today may turn into some vestige of friendship if mutual benefit can still exist after this conflict is over. That remains to be seen.
Well, from my interactions with the Ekajai, they had little interest in Lord Stoutmore as soon as he expressed little interest in their issues. All but turning him out from Akravel into the jungles. Again, he seems to be well off enough he can handle himself and brought the company along with him, but they turned quickly.
Well, I see no reason why they should spend precious resources attempting to win the friendship of someone who has no interest in their problems. Indeed, they were fortunate to run into outsiders who, indeed, have a vested interest in seeing their foes be done away with.
And perhaps they're as fortunate as I in their timing. Maybe the Cinder Claws and their haste to activate this gate and to charge forward into whatever unknowns they sought may have brought about their own demise.
The Cinder Claws had more, I suspect, that they were attempting to do than simply rush through the gate and invade Isker. I suspect they committed some mischief while they were in that gate. Renali herself has noted a stark difference between the state of the space between spaces from when she first went entered and when we came back through. I suspect they may have caused some calamity.
Well, even furthermore, then, it seems like my best chances at learning any more about this Ayudara and its workings or its history would be, well, assisting you. And, by extension, assisting the Ekujai.
And then it seems that we all have very good reason to be friends then.
So it seems. Fortune indeed. It seems Miss Renali is largely finished with her preparations here. It's interesting, she seems to have brought a truly impressive amount of silk around to set this camp up, but I suppose it's more than necessary to keep the camp off the ground. That wasn't something the Ekujai had deigned to warn me about when they turned me out.
Yeah, it's interesting. They almost... Well, perhaps I understand why you don't hold them in very high regard.
Spider leg.
Man,
Did you
this
cook it?
Pre-cooked?
It is technically pre-cooked. All I had to do was shave the hair off.
Oh, that's true. We did set it on fire quite repeatedly.
I don't think that's how cooking works.
How should I know?
I'm sure you'll find it's quite seared at the very
I
least.
got like nothing in this mimic, but there's 2 more hero points coming out. So the problem
Where'd the
is,
little D6s go?
via Buford's hoarding, I don't have any more
What am I supposed to spend them on?
Because Turnip Donut is going through, making sure that everybody's got a nice pool of 3 hero points, hitting Resme and Rur
Oh, thank you.
to top off
Resme.
everyone.
Here you go, Ruru.
Yeah, take these I got
Big
the Fumbus
boys.
coins from PaizoCon. Yeah, those will work.
Thank you.
You got the giant Fumbus coins. And then the Dat Network coming to hang out as well. Thank you, guys. Hope you had a good stream. Hope your adventures are going well.
Hi, y'all. How you
We
doing?
love you. Yes, the netting seems very useful, and I'll be glad of it tonight.
That was a good idea in chat. We just need to use one of those big coins. We just got to board game this. Give one of those big coins to Buford. Take 5 of his coins.
Chat is brilliant.
Chat's a genius. Chat, that's a 5. Okay, that's,
That's
a
a
5.
fiver.
Take that. That's a 5.
Don't worry, you'll be handing it in later.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, she won't.
5.
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
No, when
Don't
you
lie,
die.
chat.
You gotta hand them all in. Makes it easier to pass them all
Alright,
over.
and then you can take one of these, and you can take one of these, and then give me your giant coin. That's a 5 piece.
That'll be for Espus.
Chat's so smart.
That'll be for.
Chat's so smart. Fumbus is 5. They both start with F, and Fumbus can probably count that high. Makes sense to me.
Gotta hand it to him.
So, with
What was
the
Fumbus? What was Fumbus?
Fumbus is the iconic alchemist.
Probably count to 4.
I mean, Alchemist, you gotta be pretty.
He's
smart.
He's a high-end character, to be fair.
He uses goblin
We
math.
can't use we can't perpetuate these goblin stereotypes here on Paizo's own channel.
On the
He
top-
uses goblin math. It's a different way of counting. That's what they count in base
can-
4.
can we-
1,
eat
2,
now?
dead.
As you gather on the fire here, Valio's investigations having not really discovered much so far, and Renella having put in a great camp together here. You eat some possibly your own rations, possibly some giant roasted tarantula that's been obliterated by several fireballs, as should all giant spiders who show up onto a party. and then climb up into Renali's, well, let's call it what it is, nest for the evening rest.
I'm gonna cast Alarm before we go to bed.
Okay. So how much does that let you cover? What exactly does Alarm do in second edition?
I need the book. Keep talking, I'll get the information for you.
What does my spell do? I don't know.
Hopefully it's not like everything that just wants to attack us, seeing as all the mosquitoes want to attack us. They just have like 3,000.
As Nikita had warned you before you headed out of the jungle, the biggest threat that the jungle has is just the bugs. It's not giant spiders, it's not crocodiles or even the cinder claws, it's mosquitoes.
So when I cast Alarm, it's a 20-foot burst.
Okay.
I choose a password. I'll tell you guys what the password is so that you can get in and
Someone has
out.
to get up and pee at night and they come back and set all the alarms off.
If anything tries to come in it, they have to. It automatically awakens us, and the bell allows each creature even in the area to attempt a DC 15 perception check to wake up.
Okay. So it's a 20-foot radius that's warded, basically. So you could easily cover your entire camp.
Yeah, if they're even aware of the alarm, they still have to pass a spell DC check or trigger it anyway. They'd have to pass a stealth check, DC my...
Learning! All right, the 20-foot burst, the point is that the takeaway there is it's more than enough to cover a nest, even for 7 people, as your group currently is with Vali and Renali and tow, and cover down to the ground, and I mean, it's a fireball. It's a fireball of safety. It's a safety ball.
It's a safety ball. It is the safety ball.
Allowing you to sleep
You can sleep if you want to.
relatively...
You can leave the bugs behind.
relatively comfortably throughout the night. The silks that you sleep on and the netting that has been drawn around to cover the top of this thing here is certainly enough to keep the vast majority of the bugs out. It seems that most of the mosquitoes, spiders, even ants that crawl throughout the jungles here aren't really able to come in and bother you, as this almost cocoon that Renali has made. It's well done. She's not wrong. She knows what she's doing. Of course, watches are still wise. So assumedly you'd set that up, organize it. But sleep through the nights and be awake, everybody, not too long after the sun was starting to rise up. You'd notice here in the jungle, far from the Five Kings Mountains you hail from, you almost don't even notice the sun rising. It's a much less dramatic thing here because there is so much tree cover and it's so massively tall that you don't get that "the sun is now here" effect. It's almost as if just the ambient light level slowly increases without even any real visible direct source.
Like a foggy, cloudy day.
Kind of.
You just
kind of almost. Everything
you're
just starts to
aware.
get a little brighter. Yeah, it's a much less harsh awakening as morning comes. And not too long after the light has begun to return out to the lands, everyone starts to awaken. And you begin your various daily preparations. And also, before I forget, would you want to roll me a crafting check for your work on that gold bar there? 'Cause
Happily.
totally
I think I
forgot
did it last session, but I don't remember what I rolled. So that's 28.
With a 28, with your work last night, you would have been able to neutralize the arsenic trace to the golden bar.
Yeah.
And you would have a not completely pure, but safe and fairly pure gold bar.
And very marketable.
Very marketable. Very gold. Very worth dollars. Money is cool. That's worth probably about
I think you said 20 gold last time.
10 gold.
10? Oh. Tried.
I think
30.
he said
It was an
12.
effort.
12 or
effort.
13 for sure is
sure
what he said.
50?
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
Platinum?
This gold bar is
what am I getting?
actually just a magical item?
Oh, this is purified orichalcum. Crazy. Weird, crazy how
How'd that
nature do
happen?
that.
That's crazy.
Star metal. But about halfway through your morning preparations, as you're readying your magics, your armor, getting down out of this strange, silken, massive hammock that you're all kind of sharing up here above the ground and getting back down below to ready your massive suit of armor, etc. You would be approached. Not by a strange face, but by one that you recognize. Galanore, with a pair of Ekajai scouts behind him, would simply stride forth from the trees. Longbow strung across his torso, one hand on it, the other swinging freely as he walks forward with a bit of a grim expression on his face. And who... You're all there. You're all kind of getting ready. Just sort of looks across the group of Anali to Valia, the five of you.
Good morning.
We set the spider on fire. We're sorry if we worried you.
I heard word from the scouts last night that more Cinder Claws were massing with their priests at Hunter's Gate. That their magics tainted the land so close to Arkrivel again.
Well, I don't know what your scouts need to get their eyes checked, because, I mean, I've got shining armor here, and he's got white hair.
Imagine my surprise to find those the twin leopards have seen fit to put their hopes in. A cure as bad as the sickness.
Oh, you're
casting fire across our lands.
Oh, he's just being a jerk then.
We didn't mean any harm. It was just the
We
spider.
certainly did. We killed that spider with it.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem here is, sir. I
kinda
think we
looks over
must have
everybody's,
gotten around the wrong...
Blasts have charred up two distinct 20-foot radius, just bursts of the ground, burnt. The temple of Katepis here. A site even that's ruined, held sacred, burned worse by the first humans we let walk here than the whole force of the Cinder Claws that attacked it.
For what it is worth mentioning, neither of us that used Fireball are human.
Wait. We're getting off the track here. I don't know if you understand what we're trying to do here, but, we're trying to,
Not get eaten by a giant spider?
and...
Before we go off on trying to explain ourselves,
There's nothing to explain.
I'm not
We acted
explaining
perfectly
ourselves.
reasonably.
Dalrin, remember how I was in the caves for the reasons of things that bother me?
He's not drugged.
It's no, I'm not talking about the mushrooms. I'm talking about the undead.
Oh.
So too is fire to them. When you see signs of your enemy always around you, and then you get to see even a glimpse of what could possibly be your enemy, you get angered by it.
I understood most of that, but it sounds half right. This is simple. You think only of yourselves, like all else that come from across the inner sea. You cast this fire out, threatened by one spider, without thought for the repercussions it has for the jungle, its life, its people. You understand, yes? They teach you fire burns things.
Yeah, things grow back, man.
It was
Stronger
some.
than before the fire.
It was just some grass.
You just need to calm down. Your scouts riled you, you're upset, and you come here and find you came this way for nothing. Mistakes happen. We did nothing wrong. You can leave now.
Nothing seems right enough. I will not cross the will of the twin leopards, and they have made their thoughts clear. But you are only here because we have no choice.
Or it could be that you just haven't eaten or had any coffee this morning. How about you have some breakfast and sit with us, and maybe you'll feel better.
I will not take this news back to Renavo. He holds hope for you. You, particularly human, for some reason inspired him. Something. And I will not crush him with your failures.
I feel like we got a big cultural misunderstanding here, man. But, you know,
He just cuts a hand. Do what you have to do.
well, that's what we're doing.
Remove this enchantment. Let us handle our own lands. And head back through Hunter's Gate from whence you came.
Because you handled your own land so well before we came here.
We made a mistake that may have cost us everything.
Perhaps
But
we
the
should
more
forgive
it's-
each other's mistakes then.
You do not seem to think it was a mistake.
Nor do you see, but you seem to be coming around to it. Maybe we both could.
If you had told me you didn't want me to use fire magic, I would not have used fire magic. It was very simple. Now that you've told me it insults you, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not rude. But if you don't tell me something and I don't know it, I'm not as familiar with your customs as you are, living here most of your life. You can't expect me to read your mind.
I can't imagine there is a... I do not know the word. A difference in teaching about burning down a forest. I think.
We didn't burn down a forest, though.
I wouldn't have done it in the trees. I did it in a clearing. I wasn't going to burn down your forest.
We need our lands back. I have seen at least some of you possess some competence, and he looks directly at Dalren and Esphis as he said that. I do not know your customs, your methods, but the twin leopards are not wrong in that we have no choices but to rely on you. And fine, if we are to be blunt, you do seem more competent than any humans I have ever met.
I'm not a human.
It is not about what your father gave you, it is about what your heart gave you. You are all humans on the inside. Except you.
Does he
I
want to
don't
get
maybe
punched?
think that is accurate at all towards me.
Does he want to get punched?
I think we're done talking. I'm certainly done talking to you.
Fine then. I have trekked through the night, gathering scouts for another battle at the Hunter's Gate to find only this.
Get better scouts, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm really easy to recognize.
Don't
I've got a
beg
cowboy
for sympathy
hat.
from me after spitting that petulant vitriol.
I seek none from you.
Good.
If the scouts had bothered to lay eyes on any of the individuals here, they would have known better.
While we're discussing semantics and wasting yet more time, why don't we continue to prepare ourselves? Step well, sleep well. We will take care in the future.
Looking at Esphis, looking back to Dalren with the glare, Galanore just turns and motions to his hunters with him. They just turn and walk away. And as they make their way back out into the jungle, Bernali slowly kind of edges over, like hands kind of wringing in front of her, clearly pretty uncomfortable, over from the camp. This is the Ekujai I am more familiar with.
I was this close to hitting him right in his petulant, childlike face.
I was this close to putting him in my pocket.
They are afraid more than words can say. And so when they want to be brave, the only way they know how to act brave is to be angry.
I
And-
think you're giving them plenty of credit.
Well, with them saying that we are human in our hearts is simply them saying that we are not Ekujai.
Well,
It just sounds like ignorance to me.
I do not know what he means really of his insults, but
It's not good.
this, away from Akrivel and the eyes of his elders, this is the Ekujai most need.
Well, he's kind of a stubborn fellow. But, I've always taken being called human pretty good compliment. And I'll choose to take it that way again. I'll have you know, Renelli, that your bed making is just phenomenal. I have never slept so good in my whole life. That thing, if someday I'm going to take some of this webbing back, I'm going to put it in my house. Oh my goodness.
She just kind of smiles and bows her head a bit as Valia. Well, certainly the reports of the Equigide's militant nature don't seem to have been understated.
Spider leg.
Oh, thank you.
I guess I won't be setting
I'll take
anything on
another one.
fire.
Thank you, ma'am.
Unless it's life or death, in which case I'm totally setting things on fire.
By their own accounts, once we make our way further into the jungles, the scouts can't follow us. They're blinded by this enchantment, are they not?
That's true enough.
Good point.
If it comes to a matter of protecting yourself, please do it all you need to.
Oh, I do.
I'd be the last to recommend subterfuge, of course. I'd much more prefer to act directly and diplomatically, but by all accounts, by all records, by all scholarly journals and diaries of adventurers throughout the Mongi regions, the Nekajai have been nothing but hostile to any who have traveled here for any region, so...
Well, it seems to be just a cultural misunderstanding. Back where we're from, burning fields, controlled fire just gets them ready for the next spring. The ground's too,
I suppose a field is much more able to be controlled than the massive expanses of jungles such as this.
these trees are pretty old and pretty big. Imagine the amount of fire that it'd take to get these things burning would be pretty phenomenal.
Plus, the soil's very wet. It
But
won't
imagine
get
once
far.
it began.
It is a jungle. What we've
That's-
singed will be fixed in a matter of days, if not hours.
I do imagine it's more of a point of order, perhaps even of... Well, they may very well relate most fire back to this darkness, to their
That's
past,
true.
Now, it's distinctly possible, never mind the fires that they cook their food with, fires they smelt their metal on.
Well, I'm not here to judge the culture of the Ekajai, but
I do worship a god of fire.
Oh no, you're afraid of water. Do you panic whenever someone throws an apple at your face when you want to eat?
I understood the sarcasm, but nothing else made any sense.
Benelli kind of puts her hands up. We should not continue what the Ekajai have brought to us. We should gather things for the morning and begin.
Let's get out of here.
Well, let's plan for a bit. There's a lot of jungle to cover, and while Renali does make spectacular camp, we may want to consider using her skills a bit more productively.
Well, in the matter of the daily preparations, where are we going? Are we still going to that elephant people tribe?
Yes, we're heading toward the river.
Well, the possibility of the Cinder Claws to the east of us, it may be wise, though, to check further south to the river. I don't know about these...
Give us the giant map here.
Yeah, these
Overview of
These
where we
elephant
are.
people certainly, at least the Ekujai, consider them hostile. Although it seems
I
to me
mean,
that
I
they're probably
feel-
just
yeah.
hostile to the Ekujai. The Ekujai are just hostile to everybody.
I would not take the words of the Ekajai on manners of friends or enemies. The Ekajai make enemies of all they meet.
I'm very friendly. I'm pretty certain we can make friends with them.
Very good. At the very least, we certainly are clearly not from the Ekujai, so that at least will keep them from immediately coming after us.
And I mean, we got to go see the elephants, obviously.
I have to admit that is not inconsiderate in what I'm saying.
If this blinding curtain only affects the Ekujai, it's possible that these Elfit people will have more information and possibly know more about the Cinder Claws.
And they might let us ride an elephant.
Possibly.
You and Buddy, the both.
I would simply like to get to the river so that perhaps we can maybe construct something to go along the river. It would allow us to see both sides, perhaps as we go along, and with minimal effort.
Seems like a fine idea.
And the only thing I'm going to give as a gameplay point of order is these hexes are literally 10 miles across.
Right.
So, like, you will be able to see things that are on the banks of either side, but it's certainly not going to be, like, revealing two hexes.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to be, like, a 20-mile spread of the jungles around you.
How big is that river?
It's fairly large. The river that cuts through,
Because
It is
it's
a-
like two.
It's like
it is a river.
It's
you
the
are
Amazon.
looking at, yeah, it is, well, it's like a large tributary of the Amazon. It's not one of the primary rivers to the Mongi Expanse, not one that would show up on this map over here, but it is one of the feeder rivers for that. It is probably anywhere from 1 to 3 or even 4 miles across.
wow. Okay.
Fording it would be somewhat of a challenge, depending on how aggressive it is. If it's slow moving, obviously, well, this is gonna be a long swim. But if it's like rapids at any point, it may be nigh impossible to cross easily. You may have to find
Rafts may
somewhere.
be a good idea.
Very, very wide river.
All right, so south then. It may be useful to have Renali scout out to our east in case the Cinder Claws have done anything on the way.
Well, depending on how we want to approach this, there are some divine magics that will help us get there or somewhere. I have to know which one we're going for.
Well, probably there versus somewhere, but everywhere is technically somewhere.
The Elephant Village.
Yeah, with a specific target in mind, I can make this much easier for us.
If the
Fine
gods
to
give us
me.
their blessing, it seems unwise to refuse.
But that bed sure was a blessing, and I don't know if it without Renali setting up camp, I don't know if we're gonna be so comfortable.
If I am to look on my own, if I am to scout around and find more for us, I will not have time to acquire so much silk. I can still set up camp in the evening, but with what we have.
I suppose let's do it once and see what we get out of it, and then we can always do something different tomorrow.
Fair enough.
I
I'll
will
take that
also, if you want her to scout for you, I will make a second token for Renali here.
Well, question. Is she just going to catch up to us at the end of the day?
She will, yes. Renali is capable enough here that she would be able to scout through an adjacent hex and she would meet back up with you in the evening to tell you what she had found, if anything, and also if you need her to attempt to set up camp for you.
Itsy bitsy spider went out and scouted
Well,
ahead.
then I will prepare.
Why are you like this?
I will prepare and cast Wanderer's Guide then.
Alrighty. So with that prepared, what do you want Renali to do? What's the trajectory for today?
So let's see. I guess since we know the Elephant Village is roughly here, we'll need to head south and slightly east. If with your spell we can go and maybe make double progress, we can explore 2 and consider an ally to explore an additional 1. So Renali could go directly south
Tell
of
me
us.
what Wanderer's Guide did again?
It lets
Wanderer's
us-
Guide. Let me tell you the specifics.
Right, let you explore too, but if you run into something, that's still it for the day. That was
Yeah.
what I said we were doing.
It lets me choose a destination. I receive an inspired route to that destination, allowing me and all allies who travel overland with me to reduce the movement penalty from difficult terrain by half for the duration. As long as you don't deviate from the inspired path, it has no. It does not affect movement during encounters, and if I use it before the duration is over, it goes away and I get a new target.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. So that will allow you to move through the jungle much faster.
And that lasts until my next spell preparation. So that's all night, all day.
So with that, you have an inspired path heading down to the elephant people's camp, down not too far across the river.
Which functionally lets us move full speed while still being in exploration mode.
Like 75% speed. 'Cause
Yeah.
It has the difficult time penalty, so it definitely lets you move a good deal faster. With that spell, with today's journey, you are going to head just straight south.
Yeah, we could do that, and Renali can explore 1
Well,
hex, right?
I
Yep.
suppose
Still go this way, and you want Renali to go this way, is what I'm understanding?
Well, how about this?
the pathway is a divine thing, so I guess you would decide where
Yeah,
it
the
takes
divine
us.
path is going to lead you due south from here.
Yeah.
To the elephant people, the divine path is going to lead you straight south.
I mean, like,
Sounds good to
as
me.
far as, like, hex goes, you would, I guess, decide if it sends us to, like, this one or that one if there's 2 directly below us.
Renali
Well, there's
can
only
just-
1 because that's the way the hex is.
Yeah, that's what I
laid
mean.
out.
Like, if you're using inspired path, the inspired path is due south.
Yeah,
And
I'm
a-
saying for, like, intersections where we would have 2 choices.
I understand.
And
I will-
Renali can just go to the east, wherever that is. The east
Exactly.
of wherever we're going.
So throughout this first real day of exploration, thanks to Rur's holy guidance, the going seems to somehow be significantly easier, if not necessarily any more pleasant. It's still hot, it's still humid, it's still an absolute massacre of bugs and mosquitoes constantly. But as you follow his inspired guide, you travel south, revealing virtually nothing in the trackless jungle as you continue down about 20 miles, ending up around here. Which of these hexes did you want to send Renali to scout?
Do we want to do one of the border ones, or do you want to?
Because she can go out ahead of you. Her, and she'll bring Valia with her.
Can Volley just come with us?
I suppose Valia can come with you. I don't want to run another NPC in combat, so she's with Renali.
Oh, all right, that's fair.
Purely minutiae reasons.
We're also in exploration mode, so I don't think we're going to move that far, are we?
That's exactly how far we'll move
Oh, really?
because we're magics.
Yeah, because you have Wanderer's Guide.
Oh, that's right.
Because you have Wanderer's Guide. You have a literal inspired path
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Sarenrae heading you through the jungle here. But Renali and Valia, again, which hex do you want her to go after?
Just right there.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 o'clock from her current position.
Alrighty. And Renali, meeting up with you in the evening, would let you know that there wasn't really much of value that she had found over there either. Your first pass to the jungle here, your first day's journey, thanks to the guiding light of Sarenrae really helping you move much faster, getting a lot of progress, but not really changing much of your scenery. Later on in the afternoon, as you're traveling, the jungle would open up a good deal for the last few hours of your journey. As you can see here, there's not so much a clearing as there is almost a sort of passage heading from the northeast down to the southwest. A muddied, a mile or two wide gap, largely, with much more sparse and much smaller foliage, where the ground becomes a good deal rockier, and there's not as much that can grow out of it. It's still just as difficult to navigate. It's just an interesting change in terrain, an interesting feature that seems to run almost parallel to the river about 10, 15 miles out from it.
Like old riverbed almost.
Not so much old riverbed as almost what looks like it may have been an embankment of one kind.
Like the river used to be big.
Maybe. Like the river
Oh, God.
maybe perhaps used to be 5-10 times wider, and this was possibly an older edge of it. But it's fairly shallow out here. There's no like cliffside you're scrambling down or anything.
Could be flood basin.
Could be flood basin.
Did we see anything interesting as far as plants or herbs or anything that I might have wanted to pick up? Because I really am interested in picking a bunch of that stuff up and bringing it back with me.
Don't go off
yeah.
the path.
I'm not going.
Yeah, traveling through the jungle, there would be plenty that you could find that would be interesting and of minor value, just of minor use for either literally like teas or seasonings, or just an incredibly simple tinctures. Nothing that'd be useful insofar as even like a minor healing potion or anything, but just stuff that would make life slightly more pleasant. Things that smell good or taste nice.
For
Pretty much
it's
what I'm looking
worth,
You have an entire jungle's worth of stuff.
The path only applies to me.
Everyone else can fan out. We're just gotta follow Sarenrae's
Yep.
guidance. You got the magical mom's dotted line.
Yeah, the
Walking
spell
this way.
very specifically says that it applies to me and everyone can follow me.
Huh. All right, fair enough.
So in the evening, as Renali and Valia come back and return with the group of you, we did not see much. However, this stony land, this gap here in the bigger trees, it does continue on. It gets a little bit steeper, more angled. Further down, perhaps it is cliff or mountainside.
Would it be easier going if we followed this gap in the trees than going through the jungle proper?
It is still mostly rocks and uneven and undergrowth, so not much easier.
Okay.
More open, certainly,
Just a different type of unpleasant.
if that is how you see it.
Well, given the numbers that the cult seems to have at its disposal, it might be wise if we weren't out in the open.
Yeah, I like staying under cover.
So as you come back together at the end of this first day, what's this now on? I gotta keep track of our
Yeah,
day.
I know, right?
As the
We're actually going through days now.
Round
Day.
two.
Moon Day comes to an end here. You prepare to make camp. So Renali can still do it for you. But she didn't have time to, let's say, gather this large pile of silk. Do you still want her to make your camp?
Well, we still have our bundle, don't we?
Bundle?
Of silk.
Not particularly long lasting. It's not like proper treated woven silk and clothing. It kind of deteriorated fairly
the one in the
rapidly.
bag.
That's just mosquito netting.
You have the mosquito netting.
Oh, the off the ground camp.
Yeah, the off the ground
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is what
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have. Yeah.
I guess
Well, I mean, if without this silk, she's going to be not as good at it. It might be good if we just kind of work together and try to cook up something.
She's still pretty decent. She's still decent at it, but it's not. She's not necessarily going to be an amazing wizard at it because access to all of this silk is what makes her camp so effective, largely. But it is a survival check if somebody else
can
wants
set
to attempt it instead.
shall we do it together?
Because everyone just looks.
At the ranger.
Hey, Ranger.
Yeah, we can. Sure, we can set it up together.
Okay.
If we want to keep doing this, I can try to see what I can pick up and remember from my long, long life. I'm sure I tried some survivaling at some point in the past.
I can roll to assist you if you'd like.
Okay.
So because I have a. Well, yeah, I'll just roll to assist.
Survival.
I have a number.
I have a number. 22, so I'll assist.
So you'll
Okay.
get a plus 2.
So 27.
So with a 27, although your camp is going to be on the ground this time, and it's going to become pretty rapidly apparent why that's not as ideal.
Ew.
Because the mosquito netting will keep most of the flying, biting, horrible things away. It will not keep a large amount of the groundy, crawly, horrible, biting things away, / generally itching things. And the ground's not great to sleep on. Your options are pretty much it's entirely too soft and muddy that as you lay there you slowly sink into it and you wake up a little unpleasantly moist versus it's just roots and hard packed earth that's not flat and has virtually no give whatsoever. It's camping in the middle of the rainforest. It's not fantastic. It's how it goes. But does somebody else want to just roll me a d20? Just on the off chance anything happens.
Sure.
I am setting up alarm.
You will have your alarm. With your watches, their own rest, you got 2.
That's a 2.
On the d20 that you asked him just to roll.
Well, that's interesting. What an interesting outcome
That's a d20 that failed.
That was the roll for the thing to sneak up on us, right?
Yeah, the halfling luck. That's a d20.
As you
I think it's just a
Rest
chance
here.
die.
I know.
The way he's rolling, a manticore.
The moon falls out of
Actually,
the
Doc
sky.
shows up.
Sup, sleeping in my woods?
how you nerds doing? You rest.
What you doing? Following my plans.
You rest. You set up your watches for the evening. And why don't you guys all everyone just go ahead and roll off a d20 real quick, like, for me? You know, just for reasons.
For
Just for
lulz.
reasons.
Shall we add anything to
I
this
just
D20?
like rolling dice. No, this is just...
Dice equal fun. That's
let's
the rule.
call this a random number generator that we're
19.
currently rolling.
That's what dice are. 14.
Tell me who gets the highest number.
11.
19's the highest.
19's the highest.
I got a 17.
So,
This green
Resme...
die is doing very well.
Maybe.
Resme would be the one on watch then.
Oh God, why?
When your alarm spell pings off. And as it does, you already awaken would... I mean, it's dark. You don't have a ton of light out here. You might have like a light spell on to be able to see around the camp, but it only proceeds so far into the darkness. And it gets dark late at night in the jungles with nothing but the sounds of just the area around you. As
And some snoring.
your alarm goes off, you look around to notice, or to try and see what had even pinged it. What was even the cause? It's not immediately apparent. You don't see any cinder claws. You don't see any big animals. You don't see any kind of jungle predators coming towards you. But as everybody else gets a perception check, DC 15, to be awakened by this alarm. Just tell me if anybody fails. I mean, you have to roll pretty bad to fail this.
Does a hard 20 matter?
No, it's a DC 15 perception check to be woken up by the alarm.
I
Gotta
fail.
wake up faster.
So you will not be able to act until the
Reroll
second round.
that.
Oh,
Nice.
halfling luck, boy.
I do not fail.
Okay.
Nice.
Nobody failed?
Nobody failed.
It is still that day.
You would all be awoken. You're all prone in your sleeping bags here. Except for you, who's awake on guard, trying to see what appears to be a thick, viscous... It just looks like a huge ball of sap oozing out of the tree. Until you notice that it's moving towards you.
Guys,
And it's getting a little faster.
there's a
As
big
it
thing
does.
of goo coming toward us. Get up now.
So, I'm gonna need everyone to roll me some initiative.
Since
That was not what that was.
Yes,
I
you can
had
cast warning.
warning,
I'm sorry.
is there
what it
any
was.
chance
No.
I could cast a spell before we roll initiative?
No, it's basically like as
Oh,
your,
okay.
your alarm goes off and you're noticing
Got it.
everyone's waking
I
up.
just didn't know what the timeline was.
All right.
Can we keep it on the table, please? That'd be good.
Was.
Roll that on the table. We'll take floor dice here.
This is why we can.
Pretty much.
I thought it was because of giant ooze sap things.
Should I be rolling?
Well, trying to do sad things certainly don't help, I'm sure. All right, Birdie.
I have a 25.
Valren.
20.
Love these new initiative checks.
Yeah.
Rare.
31.
This makes my life so much easier. Espus?
26.
How easy that is. Look how easy it is. Resume?
Also 20.
So, who wants to go first? We need to
I'll go first
I think it
since
makes
I'm
sense for you to
standing
be
up.
going up first, yeah.
You're currently not prone. So we'll start with the person who is up, literally, physically up. And this thingy, well, it's an ooze. It's not fast. Not how they work. Not
Whose
how
line
the,
is it anyway?
Not how the thing functions. Alrighty. So as you all awaken, we're awakened by this mental ping in your mind. You are prone, but you are up first.
Do I know that casting spells is going to destroy this net? I would say yes. That seems like a not good idea, even if it wouldn't. Don't throw fireballs through the net.
And you do have this mosquito netting over you. It's very light. There's no actions required to get out from under it. But yeah, throwing a fireball into your incredibly fragile mosquito netting is maybe not the best idea to have.
Token for ooze?
idea ever.
What?
Token for ooze.
Oh, yes, I have token for this.
He was prepared.
Oh my god, it actually looks very oozy.
I had it on the table screen just specifically for that and just forgot to hand it to you.
All right,
There we
so first things, recall knowledge.
All right, on the ground looking at this thing, you are going to need, I'm going to need your occultism.
All right, that's a 1. 2.
So this is not super. Well, the good news is it's not super uncommon among oozes. You are familiar with this. You met this lad in War for the Crown, I believe. This appears to
Oh,
be
at the lake.
the bright orange coloration kind of gives it away. This here is an ochre, I don't know how
Ochre.
you...
Ochre.
Ochre.
Is it ochre? An ochre jelly of some kind. They are incredibly highly acidic, as are basically,
Basically an
Oozes.
acidic.
as are all oozes. But the problem is that it's not like a cohesive creature that exists, really. It's literally just a big angry blob. It's not even an angry blob. It's just a large, not even debatably sentient blob. So if you hit it with any kind of slashing or piercing attacks, you will find them very effective until you realize that you've largely just cut it in half, and now there are two blobs that are both still a problem and still as acidic and still as dangerous as the original blob was. And also, that functionally, it didn't really hurt it at all.
Yeah. So scrambling up out of my my bedroll here, I'm gonna say, don't cut it, don't poke it, beat it. Also, it'll burn you. And I'm going to. So that's 2 actions, and then I'll scramble out from under the netting, moving off over here to just put space between all of us and it.
You get a little bit of distance. Alrighty.
Because it's an ooze, it's not fast.
It is not super fast. Esmus.
Don't poke it, don't slash it. What do you want me to do? Lick it? And
Stick it. Pick up a stick and.
Because when a problem
Fists are
comes along,
bludgeoning.
it burns me. Ow! Ow! Ow!
You punch that acid in.
I've got an extra hammer in my pocket.
what?
I have a silver hammer in my pocket that I've been carrying around.
This is obviously a fiend.
Hunter shot just the hammer.
All right, Thor.
What are you doing?
All right, so first I will get up out of the netting,
Okay.
and then standing is an action.
Yeah, because you're prone.
Because I'm prone, so I'll stand up. Does Buddy have that hammer
I
ready?
have an
available?
extra. Yeah, I have an extra hammer. And I would keep it because it's silver, so I keep it on like ready to go.
As a just in case.
Yeah.
It's laid out with his armor.
Yeah.
That would actually make a lot of sense.
And keep in mind, for the purposes of your armor, that nobody has their armor on.
I know.
Yeah,
my
correct.
AC
I
is
do.
9.
You're,
Oh my god.
Clothing.
Your AC is 9?
Ow!
I think because
There's no way.
That's not possible.
Not
Well,
possible.
no.
You have
Okay,
a
so I
level
guess.
plus your
You
proficiency.
literally just lose the AC
Oh, okay,
modifier
so I
of your
still
full
get the
plate.
proficiency?
I was like, that is not how second edition works.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I took everything on my full plate thing away, so I took the proficiency off too.
No.
Okay,
You
okay,
just
okay,
lose
okay.
the number full plate gives you, which I'm pretty sure is 4
6.
or 5.
Six.
Six.
It's
Full
actually
plate is 6.
So
Full
you
plate is
lose
really
6.
Yeah.
Full plate is 6 with a 0
This
dex.
isn't first edition. You're not 9 AC like you remember. Huh?
I was ready for first
Yeah,
edition.
proficiency carries over. You're equally proficient in unarmored defense.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was panicking for a second there.
Unarmored is like the simple version of armor. So
Okay.
Oh,
if
okay.
you're whatever in armor, you're also that in unarmored.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your dex modifier?
I mean, it's just take
Zero.
the 6 for the full
Yeah,
plate.
I
7
will,
because
I
you have
will.
+1 full plate, so you would just do 7
Yeah.
AC.
Okay. So an interact action to reach over and snatch Buddy's silver hammer.
It's also light, so you can definitely.
Yeah, you're right next to him, so you can do that.
Okay, so I will do that. So that's 2 actions, and I will hunt prey as my 3rd action.
It's also a thrown hammer.
Hunt, prey, hammer.
Yeet. You got any more?
No.
Buddy,
I will also get up, and I'm going to pick up my shield and pick up my hammer.
Armor donning chrono.
hands ready. And resume.
Resume will look at that thing and her eyes will widen, and she'll wave her hands and she'll go fomente, and I'll cast slow. Make a reflex save.
With that,
I'm sorry, did you just ask an ooze to make a reflex save?
I did.
Technically, she has to fail a reflex save.
He has 4 villain points.
it's gonna be a 12.
He's gonna fail.
It is an ooze.
It's a critical failure
That is
because
a
your
critical
model's
fail.
It
22.
is a critical failure.
So he's slowed 2?
Is slow, does it have the mental trait?
I don't know. I didn't write that one down because
Well-
I didn't think it would matter.
Because I'm not sure if it's like a physically, I feel like it's an, I think slow's
Isn't
an
it like a
enchantment.
timey-wimey thing?
I'm not sure. Is it timey-wimey or is it you believe
Or
you
is
are
it
slower
loosey
now?
goosey?
Timey-wimey or loosey-goosey. Those are our options.
Somatic verbal transmutation only.
Transmutation only.
So you're actually just making the physical thing
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are
slower.
actually physically making
He
the
gets
thing slower.
he gets 2 less actions.
Yeah, it is
for the
slowed
next
to
10
for
minutes.
10 years.
I think
1 minute.
he would be so sad if it was.
Yeah, it is literally it's timey-wimey. So he's slow.
That was amazing.
Timey-wimey.
You have an action left.
That's 2 actions, so...
Resme will
you're still
get
conscious,
back.
Standing up, I
No,
guess.
she's on watch.
I'm on watch.
Oh, you're
so
on watch, right? You got her. I'm not smart.
I'm gonna back up because I don't know how fast this thing was to begin with, and I'm not taking any chances. So I'm
Right.
gonna get behind Buddy.
Protect me, large armored shield man. Dalren.
Oh goodness.
I get to hand this to you.
I already have it, but I'll take it. Where did you have your... Is this
There's
yours?
a deck.
Yeah, I have my own.
Look, I have my cards. Get your
Gleefully.
slimy cards out of here.
Your cards have elf cooties.
So he'll just roll out from underneath the netting, kind of look at this thing, see it's kind of moving really slowly after Resme casts a spell on it, and go, oh. I'll just kind of get up, brush the dirt off, and then rage just... I'm ready for you now, you're slow!
Disarm.
Pick up geese arm, yes.
Pick up a piece of toast, start
Interesting
crunching
question
it.
for you.
Yes.
When you're raging, does your weapon do strictly lightning, or is it
Yup.
still slashing?
Nope.
This
Interesting.
thing detaches from the tree, rolling slowly even for an ooze, as it just almost congeals towards you by what appears to be the entropy of the universe slowly down underneath it as it moves forward. Rare.
Well, I was not expecting that. This is very nice. Thank you, Resme. I'm going to cast light on myself over in the far reaches of the edge of that light spell. And
Alrighty. You have it on you already. You're just surrounded by huge trees.
yeah. And I have to have 3 actions to ready a 2-action spell, right?
You can't ready a 2-action
Can't.
spell.
Okay.
Yeah, you can only ready
I'm
single action things.
Going to move diagonally 2 spaces forward, just for your ease of simplicity there. And I'm going to cast shield on myself. Now I'm in range to actually do things, because I was a little too far away.
As-
Was not expecting it that slow.
I am going to use my new feat, Skirmish Strike, which allows me to strike, then step, or step, then strike. And to get nice and close to this icky thing, I will step and strike.
Is that like the bend and snap?
And step.
He went diagonal.
I'll just go straight on. That's fine too.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter, as long as I'm next to it. Okay, so it's light.
Yes. It is.
But I don't think it's agile.
It is agile. Oh. In fact, it's the bottom one.
Fancy.
This is like a claw hammer.
It's not +1, so
It is. No.
It's not +1.
It's not
Yeah.
+1, so your tackle is pretty much just going to be minus with the strength mod instead of your dex, and then without the +1 from your longbow.
Well, this sucks.
I
Is it the
suspect
same
its
as the
AC is
rapier
very
that you
low.
No, because the rapier I get to use my dex.
And it's striking.
Yeah, you got to use your strength.
Yeah.
It's not a finesse mallet, no.
No.
That's what, if you're desperately hoping you're gonna find finesse and the traits of a freaking hammer,
If you throw it, you can use your dex.
It is a thrown weapon.
Step up
I
and throw.
regret to tell you it is not a finesse mallet.
It's fine.
It's an ooze. It doesn't have a good AC.
Just hit it. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
much so.
giving.
All right, so I still get +11 to this at least.
I
So.
remember from the last
It's not
ooze
terrible.
I ran
I
into.
All right, so first attack,
You think got swallowed?
28.
28 will absolutely critically succeed, but it can, like the gelatinous cube, it has nothing to critically hit, so you hit it.
What's the damage on the light on the hammer?
1d6 plus strength.
Splash.
It's just like your arrows.
Oh my god.
You just want to die today.
So how fast can I alignment shift real quick and hunt prey? For 6 points of damage.
So as you hit it, this hammer connects with just kind of a splat. The ooze doesn't have much give to it. A little different from the gelatinous cube you'd thought before that was basically almost immaterial. It was barely there. This seems to be very solid. And as you strike and just go to pull your arm back, you feel your hammer catch. I need you to make me a reflex save.
It's sticky.
Okay. I'm gonna session reroll.
What, you don't want to get stuck in the gel?
Not only no, but.
Very finicky. Going there.
There we go. All right, try again. Okay, that is a 31.
With 31, you will succeed, and you're able, as you realize this is sticking, to yank back quickly as you see the ooze almost immediately, like reactively, start to congeal around the weapon. This thing is almost a ball of glue.
Did you want to explain that it also latches onto things?
I can't know everything.
You're a clerk, Never mind.
That's numbers, not monsters.
I'll just take 2 more swings at it. Just gonna keep. Alright, so this is so actually it's 1 higher, so that was like a plus 12, so this is because it's agile.
It is agile.
So now it goes down to plus 10.
Hunted prey.
Yes, it's my hunted prey.
I forgot
Ooh,
that
you
works
can
in
still,
melee.
yeah, the Hunter's Flurry doesn't only apply to shots.
That's correct.
We do so many. It's still Pathfinder. Ah, crap, this isn't my normal weapon. Give me 10 minutes to figure out. It's just, like, seriously, just roll a d20, and if you don't roll, like, a 3, like, this
Yeah.
thing, it's a freaking ooze. Like, you probably hit it. You'll probably roll higher than its AC on the die most of the time. So, it's like, this is not the time to worry about that.
Fair enough. All right, so that's a hit for 5 points of damage.
Make a reflex save.
That happens in every hit.
That is a 19.
With a 19, as you go to pull back, you yank, but it pulls just about as hard. The mallet does not stick, but it does fly out of your hand. It's on the ground and you're disarmed.
Crap. I'm sure it can't take attacks of opportunity. I'm gonna reach down and I'll snatch the hammer up.
All right. Activate my trap card.
Absolutely.
It definitely does not take attacks. This does not have the reflexes for attacks opportunity. This doesn't have the reflexes to have an AC higher than 13. Buddy.
Okay, I'm going to double move to the south side of the slime.
Yeah, we're flanking it now.
Flanking this thing.
Blank team.
But I'm not actually right next to it. I'm going to move further south. I don't want to be right next to it. And then I don't know how slimes, I'm sure they are mindless, but there must be some way it directs it where it's going. So I'm going to clang on my shield with my hammer and raise my shield and try and get its attention. I don't know, like it's
Look, ding, 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 ding.
dinner time over here.
Resme.
Maybe it's magnets. Maybe that's what pulls it.
Yeah, maybe.
Resme's going to again bring together her magic and go Luvate and cast Agitate.
Okay.
Oh, if you get this off.
I know, it's gonna be awesome.
Slowed and agitated.
He's gonna be so angry.
It frustratingly crawls to
So
the corner.
frustrated. So go ahead and make, I think it's a will save.
Yeah, so this might have the
All
mental
right.
trick.
As your agitate hits, you realize this ooze doesn't even close to possess the level of sentience necessary to be
Give
in
ADD.
any way bothered or experience emotions, and he's going to critically succeed automatically.
Okay. So I will cast shield.
All right.
All right. Looking at Espas's, the fate of Espas's hammer. Oh, let's see. He's just gonna spin the geese arm up and just bury the thing into it with a blast of lightning going into it. That's a 1 though, but I do have a session reroll.
You have a
point.
session reroll. That works. Like
Thank you.
that'll miss. That's about what's necessary to miss.
That's about what's
but that
necessary
will
to
miss.
There we go. That's 33.
Yeah. You beat it by 20, so you hit it.
Okay.
You critically succeed.
That's trash roll. Plus 8 is 11 lightning damage.
So that's just it's pure lightning damage. But you still are hitting with this physical weapon, and I still
I
need you
am
to make a
indeed.
reflex save.
That's a 27.
27, be able to get your weapon back out with a combination of strength and swiftness.
Attack the second. There we go. That's going to be a 21.
Okay.
That's still a trash roll. Can't. All right. That's 5 plus 8, 13 lightning damage.
So is it like every single time you pull this thing back, you just swing and it's just like a crack of lightning and just.
Reflexes. Oh, only 19.
The 19, just like Espis did, as you pull back, this thing's going to be so attached that you can't yank it back out. It's stuck in the ooze. You are disarmed. You
Does-
can use an action to grab it back out to basically regrip it. full yank, but you are disarmed.
Does the do deadly effects work on things immune to critical hits? Okay.
That would be an interesting interaction.
Be the Ooze Slayer 12,000. Just bring signs, forehead.
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to an offhand and strike with the Cinder Claw Gauntlet.
Oh, baby.
The first time I'm ever going to actually hit anything with this.
We got an extra weapon.
Woo, and that's 18 on the die,
Sure
and this
it
thing
is.
is
Yep.
agile, so yeah. I need D4s, actually, pardon me.
How
I
many
got
do you need?
plenty of them
I
over
got
here.
2 right here.
Okay.
Yeah, just striking. You got dose.
Okay. It's agile, so I don't get my full bonus, so that's +6. That's 12 more lightning damage.
All right, and as that connects,
And I'm assuming that can it disarm me of the gauntlet?
I am, in fact, going to need you to make a reflex.
Oh my god, it can actually yank the gauntlet off my hand. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it's like a gazillion. It's 31.
Okay, you're good. You're able
Like a
to slide that
gazillion.
way, like almost the fire. This enchantment encasing the gauntlet seems to burn a bit of it away, making it easier to withdraw. But as you strike it, this ooze, as these hits sort of just ripple through its sturdy, sticky body, it extends out, much like that little token we got there, extends out a thick, meaty pseudopod that just shoots out down towards Dalren. Going down as much as it is out, just directly dead center towards your chest with a 37.
Oh, 37 will catch me square. Critical, slip right past the guard.
And as this thing slams into you with pretty impressive force, you are going to take math 34 damage,
Jesus.
and I need you to make a reflex save.
Oh boy. Alright, minus, hang on, 34 total?
34.
Okay.
I also had to math.
Minus temporary goes down to 26.
Jeopardy theme for background.
Alright,
It's copyright, don't do that.
Just do it really off key.
reflex save is 21.
With a 21, as this watches across you and this giant, almost like a frog's tongue, proceeds back into the body, you see it pull Dalren onto the edge of the thing.
Is this what boggards are made of?
You are grabbed.
You have got to be kidding.
You are grabbed by merit of just being stuck to the side of this thing. However, it only has one action, so Rur.
All right. It is starting to do.
Dalren hits it with his goose arm. The weapon gets stuck. He punches it. He gets stuck.
Haha! Whoop!
This is starting to do ooze things. I think it might be time to hit it with something a little sturdier. We're gonna go on ahead and cast Searing Light at this thing. Incredibly hard to miss, but I'm sure I'll find a way.
It's basically we're don't roll one.
I did not miss.
You're good.
I need 3 d6s, please. And we're just gonna swath it in fire. Okay,
Surprisingly.
15. 4, 3, 4, 3, 1.
Yep, that'll do.
And then I will cast Healer's Blessing on Dalren, which it lasts for a minute, so.
As you're battering away at this thing, it seems like it's almost entirely not reactive to what you're doing. It's doesn't seem to really be like you're not knocking any mass off it. You're just pouring hits into it, and it's just continuing to exist. Up until this one just blap, it whacked Dalren with it. Hadn't even really done anything other than just roll slowly and ominously towards you. It's just sitting there.
Menacingly!
Espis.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm gonna try and yank Dalren off of this thing.
All right, so it's going to be an athletics check or on acrobat. Well, you can acrobatics. You're trying to help him. So I'll let you escape with athletics or an unarmed strike versus this. thing.
strike on this thing. I'm gonna try athletics. Grab you by like the waist of your pants and just try to snatch backward.
With the
Strikes.
condition that if you critically fail, you're gonna have to save against getting stuck in the thing as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what you're getting. Yeah,
I
you
know
gotta
what
kind of get in there.
I've
to
gotta get it.
on.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Give him a Heimlich.
Yeah. pretend there's a couch and being tossed. I'm going to use this hero point is brought to you by Deadly Doll. Thank you, Deadly Doll.
Much as most of us with 0 points.
Indeed.
Kados feeds well this day.
Okay, that is a 24.
24 will fail. Make a reflex save.
I thought you said if I critically failed, I'd have to.
Okay, fair. I thought that is what I said. You're right.
If that's a critical failure, then bye.
No, you, with 24, you'll pull, but he is well and truly stuck into this thing. And once stuff is stuck to this, once it has a second to adhere, it's like, it's cement. Dalren is a part of this blob now. Your friend is gone.
Oh, I'm not.
Does that count as a strike, by the way?
Escape is a attack trait.
It's an attack. Okay. I'm gonna try to beat on this thing. Let my friend go. So I'll take a swing. Okay. That'll hit.
Just pile damage into the set.
Yeah, pretty much. 6 points of damage.
Okay.
Reflex save. Natural 20.
Good.
You pull the ooze with you.
Yeah. Third attack. A 12.
12 will actually fail to really hit it. You just
Feel like I'm beating sap. And that's it for me.
All right, buddy. Now, Dalren, as you're stuck to this thing, it's stuck to you. It's kind of suctioned across a lot of your skin, but it's not burning. It's not painful. It doesn't hurt in any way. This thing doesn't seem to be acidic. You're just stuck. It's literally just like a ball of glue.
I am grateful yet not comforted.
Buddy.
So it's just he's just grabbed. He's not paralyzed or anything.
No, he's clearly flailing.
I
He is just grabbed.
I am able to express
This
my
ain't
discomfort.
gelatinous cube, too.
Okay. Well, I will step forward and I will also try and smash this thingy
Hey.
with a natural 20.
You hit it?
Nice.
Damage and a reflex save.
Okay.
You can just roll your damage dice with your d20 because you're almost guaranteed to hit this. It
Oh.
makes it a little
Okay.
bit faster.
Yep.
Okay, so that is 14.
Okay.
14 squish.
Squeeze. And the reflex. Ooh, that's not a very good reflex. I should probably session reroll that. Look at this session we're getting through.
Finally cutting into them, boys.
Okay, so
And almost 1 hero point.
I know that's a 20
Point.
reflex.
And as you hit it, your hammer is going to get stuck in this thing as well, and you are disarmed.
Sucks.
You have that big point over there.
Oh, I see.
You can
I'm
retrieve
going
it.
to. Yeah, I would step forward. I am going. I really want to get over next to. I am going to abandon my hammer.
Okay.
I know it's a sad story.
Slinging
And I'm
everything
going
in
to
this
go. I'm going to go over and run next to Dalren.
Alrighty. And the glue ball is slowly starting to just acquire all of your things. This map is so laggy.
And I just want to go one further away from these.
Okay. Not in cruising range. Fair enough. So Dalren's glaive is stuck in there. Beeford's hammer is stuck in there. Dalren is stuck in there. Resume.
So Resme would love to see more things stuck in there. So she's gonna start magically chucking them in there. And cast a telekinetic projectile. And she will pick some rocks up off the ground and just start magically flinging them at this thing.
Alright, just throwing more crap.
Yep.
More crap on the pile.
This time, things I don't care about.
Oh, boom. That's gonna be a 27.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just.
I think you're 3d6.
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah, third level cantrips.
Yeah.
That's gonna be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
As you're still laying in this thing, it's still not reacting at all. It's
That's right.
It
Take
doesn't-
those rocks.
it's not slowing, it's not changing, it has absolutely no reaction to outside stimulus. All these things are just slamming into it. You can clearly, you're physically battering this thing, but it's utterly unbothered. What's it like?
She'll move perpendicular to try to get a little closer to where Dalrin is. Behind. Like by that stump tree thing that's right behind Dalrin.
Right here.
Yes. Thank you.
Alrighty. Speaking of Dalrin. You are glued to an ooze.
This is
you are
less than
grabbed,
ideal.
So like you can still do stuff. You're not, like restrained or anything.
Yes.
Punches some more.
So punch him with a cynical gun.
No. This is let's
I got him right where I want him.
let's be intelligent about this. So first off, this is less than ideal. I'm going to try to hook my foot on a root and just pry myself off of this thing.
Alright. So with an escape, you got athletics, unarmed, or acrobatics.
Let's go with athletics. That's a 30.
30 will succeed. And pull yourself out of this thing.
Ugh. Now, where's my geese arm? Ugh. Do I have to do another thing to get
No,
out of that?
it's an action, but you don't need any kind of a roll
Okay.
to get it back.
I'll get the geese arm back. And, this thing is still really slowed down. I think we can probably be a bit more smart about this than just running up into its face. So I'm going to actually fade back 20 feet.
Let the tactics consume you.
Alright, so as you retreat back to get some distance here, the ooze is still just jiggling slightly, clearly malleable,
Jiggling slowly.
slowly as it gets stricken by things. Just lets out another big wave that just blops down onto Estivus, slapping out with a villain point, slapping out with one from Link 1429, not the one he even gave me today, the old one that he gave me forever ago. Slapping down with a 26.
That will just hit.
And an uncharacteristically.
It does not have a brain.
But
It's just going to be enfeebled.
okay.
It is not capable of redemption. It is not sentient. It's not experienced emotions or have thoughts.
But it maybe
Enfeebled it is.
But it is enfeebled too. So, is it enfeebled too after the attack, or does that apply to the damage? It's after the attack, but it has a
after
damage
the-
reduction.
yeah.
It's gonna hit you for. Oh, that is actually one more than that. 19,
-8.
so 11 damage.
Nice.
And I'm also gonna lose you my reflex save.
Oh, one.
Gotta roll the purple.
It's gonna be fine.
Actually, I need to roll the blue one. The blue one hasn't had a chance yet.
Prove yourself.
27.
27 will succeed. As you pull back from this, it slams into you, just blunt force. You can feel it stick and kind of suction, but it just sort of gets your armor and your shirt. It doesn't pull you all the way in.
I thought you said this thing was acidic.
I thought it was.
It's sticky.
Obviously, it's sticky.
The party slowly realizes he critically failed his knowledge check. Brr.
How could someone with a +1 have critically failed their
How could
knowledge
this
check?
happen?
Oh, I'm gonna move to the big tree down here and slightly away from the ooze. I'm gonna blast it with a burning hands, obviously pointing away.
Yeah, just sort of
from-
across the tree and blob here.
And this is a heightened burning hands, which does an extra
Yeah, what do you,
2d6.
I need to make a reflex save.
Yes.
He gets an 18. It's a news, not fast.
That fails standard damage.
Like not, I'm pretty sure he's just gonna fail every one of these.
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay, we're 114 damage in. Esvis, no signs of stopping.
Sorry, buddy. You'll have to pick this up. I'll just drop the hammer and boot, scoot, and boogie back.
Feeding the ooze.
It's about back here if I can get to
Why
it.
you drop the hammer? Drop the hammer back there.
Okay.
And then draw a longbow and hunted shot.
I gotta remake this map. This isn't Arkenforge's fault. This is I discovered. If you look real closely, by the way, I'll tell you why this map's so laggy, because it's entirely my fault from learning Arkenforge. You will notice all these trees are actually animated because I discovered I could put cool animated stuff on here, and I put way too many animated trees. So this map is now borderline unusable. So I'm gonna need to remake this one.
Still doesn't use as much RAM as a certain internet browser.
I'm actually pretty sure it does.
So I will draw 2 arrows and send them spiraling towards this thing like a giant ballistics
Giving
gel.
way too much power. All right.
That's what it is to me. It's just giant ballistics gel. So hits.
As both of your arrows strike into this blob, they both sort of just thud in, burying themselves about half the shaft deep into this slime, seemingly harmlessly. Broken clock twice a day. It is actually immune to precision damage.
Piercing damage.
Piercing damage. Buddy.
I'm going to go and pick up the hammer as Miss Drop. Chuck it at him! No, just kidding. I'm gonna go pick up my hammer is what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna
your
go pick
hammer?
up my
Okay.
hammer south. Yeah,
Move,
sorry.
Token. You can do it.
And then I'm going to step back. So I'm gonna go to the south a bit, pick up my hammer. Do I,
Oh, your hammer was down here, right?
yeah. And then
Okay.
I'm going to move a little bit away.
Okay.
Hammer collection.
Hammer collection time.
Gained a hammer. Resume.
So Resme is kind of about done with this thing. So I'm gonna drop a tree on it. I'm gonna use the once per day ability of my magic stick, and I'm going to use shape wood to sear through the tree next to me and try to get it to actually fall on the ooze.
Okay. Okay. I dig it. That's an interesting idea. All right. So you are not a lumberjack. This is not a thing that you regularly do. But you are gonna knock a very large tree.
Me and Roar are like,
over. So
Although I'm fairly good at math.
yeah, give me. I'm gonna say a
calculate our
crafting
HP for
check.
us?
Give me a crafting check.
I'm gonna use ancestral memories at this
Brother's
point.
gonna shape a wooden tree.
Brother, help me!
I did this once before. Natural 1. I broke the house.
They just rolled under the table. I can't see.
Oh.
Okay, that's gonna be a 25.
With a 25,
Thought I accidentally cursed it.
you would be able to reshape here. As this magic takes hold in the tree next to you, a large portion of the trunk of this just cuts away. However, the magic isn't quite enough to sear entirely through the tree, as it can only, it's a massive jungle trunk, and it can only warp so much wood. It's going to cut about half of the way through, and all of you will hear a fairly massive creaking and cracking as the weight of the tree shifts a bit, now held up like the world's crappiest Jenga tower on one side near the bottom, as this thing is precarious.
Bet you Galanore blames us for this.
Not quite falling all the way over here.
I can't imagine why.
Now I'm gonna cast shield.
Don't know which way that tree's gonna fall. Oh, all right. So first things first. This thing doesn't seem to be behaving like Ruhr said it was going to. I'm gonna try to recall knowledge and see if I can't figure something out.
All right,
about
what's
this.
your occultism?
11. Oh, does recalling knowledge have the concentrate tag?
Yes.
I am
You
not
cannot
gonna
do that while
recall
you're
knowledge.
raging.
I am just a little
You're
bit too
too mad.
fed up with this. I'm like, yeah, no, whatever, it's fine. So I'm going to step up 10 feet and just slash through it with another lightning blast. Yeah, that's a 24. Yeah.
Yep.
I like the ASMR sound effects.
Hey, that's a better damage roll. That's a 12. 20 lightning damage.
28?
20.
20, okay.
Reflex save is 30.
Okay, good.
And I don't think this thing has reach, so I'm going to swing on it again. Ooh, that's only a 2 on the die. However, I do have this here hero point, courtesy of Sir McSlushy.
Very
Hero
apt.
points are getting used.
Yeah.
We love you, Sir McSlushy. Your drinks are the
It's
bomb.
more like Sir McSlashy.
Into a natural 20. I wish
We
this would
love
have
you
just hit it.
so much.
Good damage though. I'm gonna say 17 more lightning damage.
Okay.
Just taser this thing. Oh, reflex save.
Oh yeah, another one.
Buddy old
It's
pal.
22.
The 22. As you do this last swing, your geese arm is ripped free from your hands. Fortunately, with the range here, as it's yanked out, the thing doesn't get a great grip on it either. It's just kind of drop on the ground between the two of you. And that's going to bring us to Ooze Blob, which is going to become a little bit of a problem because it's just going to splorch slowly forward up towards Dalren.
And move the whole map.
Right, the screen control is right on top of the ooze now. Center. Just up towards you. 151 damage dumped into this blob. As it very slowly rolls towards Dalren rear.
I'm gonna need a reflex save.
That slow spell was like the greatest
12.
freaking thing ever.
Critically fails
That's out of value.
against the level 1 burning hands.
More fire! Alright. It is a. Oh, it's not a critical hit. Yeah, so it can take. It's a critical failure. It's a separate thing. You can take that. It can take lots of fire. It just can't take like a precision critical weapon.
For 8 damage, and I'm pretty sure it's burning.
8 damage is doubled? Or 16 damage?
16
I
damage.
was like, that seems really low for a critical failure.
But it is a burning hands level 1, it's just 2d6.
True. All right, and 16 fire damage, and it catches fire. It's almost like Galanore has a point. As this now burning, rolling ball of orange sticky tar
Have we just made napalm?
rolls towards Dalren.
It does not catch fire with burning hands.
Just kidding. It's
Produce
just
flame.
very smoldering.
I was gonna say, did
It smells really bad.
we just made napalm going through the
Smells very
forest?
sweet, actually.
Yeah. It's Laffy Taffy.
All right, Esmus.
What are we should we just ignore it?
Why would you think that?
I'm gonna knock a tree on it.
I'm going with our research friend didn't research this enough.
Yes, it doesn't appear to be acidic, and your arrows did not seem to split it in half.
Perhaps we should do nothing and get out of the way. I'm going to hold.
I don't understand your logic.
Buddy.
Well, I'm gonna run forward and hit it and then run back.
Dalren tactics. Whomp.
Yeah. So that's for a total of 9 damage.
And as you slap it with 9 damage, make me a reflex save.
Yep. That's a 18, I think.
With 19, as you strike it, your hammer sticks in it again as you draw your hand back, disarmed. And as you pull your hand off it, so I wanted to run away with my third action, but it has my mallet again.
I will run away with my third action.
You back off, and then hear a second little metallic thud as Buford's hammer just kind of falls out of it onto the ground.
Okay. Weird. Not as sticky as I'd remembered.
Resume?
Resme's kind of had enough of this.
Still.
Still
Again.
have had enough of this. This is bull.
Additional enough.
So she's gonna turn into a bull, and we're gonna knock this friggin' tree down on this thing.
Okay. So you... Does that change your size?
Yeah, I am a bull, a literal bull.
Lorge.
Large. This resume suddenly becomes very large. Turns into a bull and turns around with her horns to just whack this tree down onto this ooze.
She's clearly gone insane.
The tree, I'm going to say the strength of a bull slamming into this is more than enough to knock this enormous trunk over. And I'm going to need everybody that's in that general direction which is going to be everybody but Esmus.
I'm gonna make it with my attack die. You
To
know,
make
this
me
is
a
bigger
reflex
numbers.
save.
Come on, baby.
God damn it. Galanore has a point.
Oh, that's really
Are we the baddies?
28.
24.
19.
You got a pile over there.
I know, but that was a good roll.
Dalren and Rur are able to quickly dodge out of the ray. Rur back between these two enormous trunks behind him, and Dalren into the clearing to the north. Perhaps Buddy had plenty of space. But Buddy is currently looking at his hammer, as it just randomly seemed to tumble out of this blob onto the ground. Like, what? And the tree isn't going to land directly on you, but you are absolutely going to be slammed by some fairly large branches as it cascades down in front of you, smashing you for 12 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
You're on the edge of this, fortunately. But the ooze itself is just going to be flattened.
Squeeze.
Beneath this, the trunk, the actual log of this.
The bull rears up on its legs and looks very pleased with itself and kind of does a little bull dance.
Yeah, they're gonna love us for this.
As this
Can
tree,
you put the tree back now?
as this tree slams into the ground on this ooze,
The bull nods at you.
Renali bolts away. What? What is happening? What? Where did this tree come from?
It was there when we got here.
It slammed down kind of right next to the camp here. Where this has never happened before.
I'm
It
me,
was
I'm me
weird,
again. Just
very
sitting there
weird.
looking really innocent.
And all of you are up kind of around this trunk, just looking vague states of guilty on the ground with no visible ooze or any kind of threat squished underneath this log.
What? Trees fall sometimes.
Yeah, that was weird. Pick up my hammer and walk back over to the camp.
Guys, weren't you sleeping? You guys should go back to
Weird.
sleep. I got this watch.
Weird stuff's happening in this forest. Must be
The tree definitely did fall down. It would probably be good if we could.
Yeah, maybe we should move
Well, I
a
mean,
little.
we could probably put the tree back up, right? I mean, that staff has all sorts of interesting magical powers.
Well, it cannot fall twice, I suppose.
Yes,
sure.
impeccable logic.
Sure, let's put the tree back up.
well, it can fall twice if you put it back up again.
I am not sure how we are looking to put a log back up.
Magic.
At the very
Well-
least, you should probably shape the wood back into the stump so the tree doesn't die.
I'm going to. Just, give me a minute.
I am not sure why we are looking to put a tree back
Well,
up.
you see, Resme has very strong religious beliefs about trees
I am
and
a
all
druid.
plants, really. And she should probably not neglect them.
Druid instinct 1, throw a tree at them.
It's
Never
more,
heard anything more druidic in my life.
It's more.
Totally not trying to low-key nudge Resme into remembering she has an anathema.
I do, but I know that I can put it back together exactly as I found it.
I
So
can fix it. I can fix it. It's fine. Don't worry. So, as you try to use your magic and
I'm
what's
just gonna raise some undead. It's all right. I can kill them anytime I need to. Don't worry, Saren Ray. I got this.
in this tree staff, the staff of nature, to somehow figure out how to fix a tree. I think perhaps with this ooze defeated, it would be a good time to take a mainstream picture.
well, worst comes to worst, I can just turn into one and make it look like the tree got
Yeah.
put back.
Yeah, that's how anathemas work.
That's
No, I'm
Just trick Mother Nature into thinking the tree's still there.
For the rest of your days.
We'll come back in a couple minutes, everybody.
Would
And
you
when
please?
we do, the magical adventure of these idiots will continue. Be right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. That was the thing that happened. That was a series of events we experienced. At the end of this, Resume kind of attempting to put a tree back together, but this thing is, I don't know, like 80 feet tall. It's crashed down. Even if you could wood shape the base back together, there's no way you could possibly get the trunk of the tree back up onto the roots of the thing itself. This is like several tons of living wood and branches. It's now just kind of crushed through a swath of the environment. Renali, seemingly an astoundingly heavy sleeper, just quick to brush it off and just roll back over and go back to sleep. Seemingly less concerned by really all the happenings of the jungle, perhaps just as a factor of living here. Doesn't seem to bother her that much. It's like, whatever, I'm tired.
Whatever.
It's not my watch yet. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Doing tree stuff.
But after some effort, kind of realizing, the tree cannot really be put back together at this point. Left with a stump shaped half over on one side with a massive spur of wood on the other. Is the resounding response. As the group of you head back to sleep and Resume back to the watch. The rest of the night does continue largely without incident.
For what it matters, I'd treat both of them before we actually went back to bed.
Yeah, if you'd be so kind.
I mean, nobody took massive damage. I think you could pretty easily between their
It hit me
natural...
pretty hard, actually.
Well,
Maybe
you
just
still
the
have a
once.
healer's blessing on you, so I'm just gonna pop a heal, a 3-action heal, and heal both of you for a D10. But you also get 6 on top of that flat.
Yeah, with I mean, we don't need to roll any of this. With a wave of magic and with your new proficiency in medicine, you'd definitely be able to touch everybody up before they went back to sleep and make sure the Dalrin was left largely okay. Ribs perhaps slightly bruised and wounded. There's only so much you can do about that. But
I'll sleep it off.
yeah, you'll sleep it off. You awaken
Collapsed rib cage.
the
pops.
next morning. A wheel day. Although it's almost impossible to keep track at this point with the expanses of the jungle. And as whoever's last on watch gets everyone up sometime after light has returned back to the jungles, you all start to make the preparations for the morning. Buddy wiggling into his armor, Rur communing with his son, God,
With my GPS system.
with your magical jungle GPS. That's really accurate, actually. Communing with his jungle GPS. And Resme preparing her 2 flavors of magic, that given to her by her own blood and that given to her by this strange connection with her brother. Where's the one that I want?
Ooh, 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 computer.
I see what you did there.
I am pretty cute.
There, that can fix this real quick. I didn't save before I jumped off the exploration map, so I just gotta move the token again.
I get afraid with you and computers saying it's okay, I can fix this real quick. Like,
That's
that
okay.
terrifies for me.
It's a standard feature of literally every stream. Like, how is this news to anybody anymore?
Feature.
Not a
We
bug.
all obviously know I have no idea what I'm doing. So, as you commune, your druid powers really aren't yours, right? They're your brothers. They come through from this connection you have. So you normally, I imagine, what are your morning preparations with you as far as your druid magic and this connection is concerned? How do you reach this?
So the way I kind of think about it is, she's sort of thinking about her brother, trying to keep him alive in her mind, because that's really the only place he lives is inside of her. And she doesn't want to lose him because it's the only way he lives. So she would kind of think about who he is and how that impacts on her life, and that's how she would channel his magic through her.
As you reach that this morning, your focus, strangely, you almost feel that memory fading to some extent. Normally, you have this connection, obviously, brought with you from birth that's so strong that literal divine magic can pass through it. but it feels weaker somehow and faded. Obviously, you can still think about the concept of your brother, but he's not even a person you ever really met. It was just almost a linked soul. And you realize that you don't really have any, like, there's no hard memories here. It's just this strange connection, which is now seemingly tenebrous at best. You're actually not going to be able to prepare any druidic magic this
Okay.
morning.
And it's tenuous, not tenebrous. There are no...
No, tenebrous is totally a thing. Shadowy.
Bam! Spooked you and bam!
Dad
I'll make
said
fun
it
of him
was
when he's
okay.
wrong, but he's got you on this one.
Put one on the GM's board. Words I was correct on, one. But,
You'll see Resme, as she's preparing her usual magic. Anyone who has any social eyes whatsoever would see terror come over her face. Like, she looks afraid. Like, she actually even shakes a bit. Like, she looks panicky.
You doing all right, Resume? Did something happen?
I don't know. Maybe it's not real. Yeah, that's it. Maybe it's not real, and I didn't wake up, and this is a nightmare.
Well, I can definitely tell you that the sun has blessed us on this day. It's not a dream.
Okay, I get the message. Just don't go. Please don't go. You're all...
Renelli connects over. Are you well, Esme? What is wrong?
I'll be okay. He'll come back. I'm not gonna do it again. I promise. I know he'll come back. He would give me another chance. He's not cruel.
And she just looks over to Dalren specifically. Dora, what is happening? Something is wrong with Resme.
Resume, are you your brother? Is he all right?
Everything's fine. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just go.
Let's go for now.
Valia over in the corner readying her armor and stuff just sort of shifts her eyes and just looks away uncomfortably from this, pulls a little book off of her hip, and starts kind of just slowly thumbing through her little guide.
Hey, Valia. Spider-like.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Resme looks uncomfortable in her skin. Like she's twitchy.
How protected is knowledge of druids, like, as a whole?
You don't know. You know
I
what
mean,
I've told you, and that's pretty much
Knowledge
it.
of, like, druids in general, like, you would know that there are druidic cults that exist, and you would know largely that they, almost just the basic archetype of the druid. They commune with nature in some way. They are incredibly secretive. So, beyond the fact that it's very common for them to follow in the footsteps of Gazra or Arostel, almost like a more traditional church, there is almost, they have a language, nothing of it. Clearly, they have a source of some magic but you don't know whether that's similar to like a wizard or a sorcerer or something else entirely. I'd say very little, honestly. Okay. You know about what a druid actually is.
I have no clue what's going on.
As she prepares her breakfast, Resme will visibly seem to get a hold of herself, and a social mask will come over her face, more like what she was like when you first met her, before...
Like a certain individual we might be traveling with at the moment?
Not as cold or systematic, but it's more like she's reacting from her training in the social world at this point. She's responding as is polite and as she was taught, but it's by rote. There's no emotion behind it, and you don't think that she's really there with you if you have any social noir.
So maybe not Buford. But
Well,
Yeah, but
I say.
You have no clue. She's paying attention, and if you ask her specific questions, she'll respond correctly. She'll respond with her usual intelligence, but there is absolutely there's no heart behind it.
Well, I think it may be that time of the month again, and I don't know if she brought her herbs along.
No, Buford.
And Volley is going to die. Like, she
Talia
literally
retreats back. And gets hurt.
Shrivels.
like, she literally took hit points from that.
Mental damage.
The way I picture Volley and Renali exploring the jungle together is Renali just wraps her up in a spider silk cocoon,
Just
puts
carries her.
back, and just starts. So I can just see Volley just going there and just kind of crawling headfirst into the cocoon from yesterday.
Clearly very uncomfortable, though. Volley is still sitting in the distance. Well, then, should we be underway? Renali and I imagine, will be scouting independently, and we will meet you this evening if we have found anything of interest.
Lean real close, like uncomfortably close. You got any more of those like womanly things? I don't know. This might be. I don't want to like.
Buford, please. This is unacceptable behavior and, frankly, abrasive.
Well, I've heard that before, actually. But I just, I feel like I've never seen Resme so uncomfortable, and I don't want her. We're gonna be walking all day, and if
Buford,
she's like,
I apologize, but I must insist you are being far too direct and forward with, well, myself and also my personal space. So, please.
alrighty then. If you think she's gonna be okay, then okay. Sounds like a plan.
So perhaps
Surveys.
we have come to the conclusion that sleeping on the ground is not a good idea.
Probably not. We may want to try to find. Without Renali's silks, do we have enough material between all of us to be able to? I have some rope here.
Material, I don't think, is the thing. Renali, if you could, instead of scouting alone with...
Well, would it matter if she's scouting or not? I mean, I feel like things will attack us if we're in the air or not.
I did not notice much different on the ground, other than that Ying was able to find us, but that came from the tree. It would have found us either way.
My arms would beg to differ, and just like have little ant bites that is just kind of like...
Well, that you'd get used to, honestly.
I feel like Esmus is a little touchy this morning. I feel,
It is certainly better to be off of the ground. That is why I try to help when I can, but gathering these materials takes a lot of time, the better part of a day.
I'll just walk out from behind a tree, little red bite marks everywhere with cream on them. Just like, yeah, we should not sleep on the ground, please.
you guys are babies. I feel like there's nothing wrong with this at all. I feel yeah, you see now, we covered a lot more ground with her scouting.
Buddy, have you seen the track of bite marks going down your arm?
I try not to think about it too much.
Well,
Not to mention, we did have to shake 3 separate spiders out of your cuirass before you put it on this
Well,
one.
I ate one of them. It was real
I think it
tasty.
would be best if you prepared
Like
camp
little
tonight.
chicken.
all right. I will gather what I can. I will hopefully be able to prepare enough of more of these silks to bridge us from the jungle floor. Where are
Where
we
exact-
headed? I will strike out, and Valia can help me prepare the area.
Well, if the goal is to cross the river, or at least get to it, it may be wise for us, for example, we could go straight ahead, and you could veer off to the left, and we have a decent... Or better yet, since we're going to have to be going this way, we'll head to the left and you head to the right, so we have an idea of what's to this side, and we'll be wanting to explore this way
Well,
by the end
if-
of the night.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if she's scouting, then she's not
If
doing
she's-
the gathering.
And if she's preparing a camp, you're not going to be able to go through 2 hexes and see anything. If you like, his path isn't going to be able to lead you way. It can only lead you straight to the elephant people.
Right.
Yeah,
So you can't use it to explore 2 hexes in front of you. It can only get you straight to a destination.
Sure, so I was thinking we go through one hex and she goes to the other.
Well, if we wanted to explore this side of the river before we cross, I have a different spell that I can prepare with similar effects. But it won't let us get to the Elephant People's tribe in the same fashion. It's more for general safety while exploring.
Well, perhaps what we should do then is it may be wiser to kind of take it slow since we do know that the river is coming up. We could just have Renali prepare her silks like she normally does, advance to the river's edge. I see no reason why we really have to worry about this section of the river since we believe the cinder claws are over here somewhere. We could simply go straight here onto the bank of the river, set up camp here, see the area, possibly see about building a raft. I think your first spell would still be very useful to get us to this bank of the river here.
I don't want to cross the river today.
It could also be very well that my spell doesn't take us there at all. It might be safer farther upriver. I don't know. The spell simply guides me.
Well, what's the plan for today?
I think we're just going to let the spell guide us as far as the river and then stop on its banks and see what we can see along the way. And
Well, then let me prepare the other spell that will help us with exploring the river itself, rather than going to a set destination.
that sounds logical.
Fair enough.
All right.
And the other one is very similar in effect, but for when you don't know where you're going. And it does a thing.
Spells.
It
What's it called?
show the way.
Show away.
No
It's
direction.
a 5-foot
Which way is north?
emanation to me and allies in the area with a duration of 8 hours.
Okay.
And I reckon you can read that better there than I can over
Yeah,
here.
doing
So.
effect, yeah. But all right, so it will give you preternatural knowledge about the head. When you get into it, the best way forward and avoid potential obstacles. It makes difficult terrain slow you a little bit less. So
It just makes exploring general areas a little easier.
Darn. Back of armor, back of armor, back of armor.
Yes. And I'll just palm strikes the back of the armor.
Oh, that's going to stick all day. Thank you.
But it's not biting you anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You just pull out the remains of a spider. Just.
So with the show the way, since it basically allows you to explore 50% faster, we'll treat this like Pathfinder diagonals. So you can go 2 hexes with it, and the next day you use it, you'll still only do 1 hex, and the next day you'll do 2 hexes, because I don't know how better to represent a 50% speed increase to 1.
That makes sense.
So using it now, you'd be able to just explore the whole riverbank here. Meet up with Renali, preparing camp directly south of you.
So that even makes sense, because part of these are across or in the river.
Yeah. So with that spell prepared, the group of you begin your expedition down this way. And as you make it to the riverbanks and travel down along them, you still would not really have discovered anything of particular note. Renali, having headed directly down south towards the riverbanks ahead of you, would have arrived there somewhat early, gathering her silk and having Valia assist her in preparing a camp for the evening's rest.
What's the river like in this general area?
It's quite wide, but it's also a very slow, lazy flow. In fact, looking at the surface of the water, it barely even looks like it's really moving. It's almost as lazy as just a gentle breeze through breach hill.
Which way does the river flow?
The river is flowing east to west, question mark? I have a correct answer for this. But it is so slow that with Epsis's raft plan, like if you had a stick or a paddle, you would be able to paddle against it with no real difficulty.
Okay,
like
excellent.
it would slowly carry you to the west, but it's an incredibly gentle river. That said, it's very massive, and at this branch here appears to be about a third of a mile across, which is a decent swim, but thanks to the barely moving water, not a super challenging one.
Okay. Oh, I'm not too terribly interested in swimming in a jungle river. No telling what's in it, but can I see anything on the other side of the bank?
Whole pork chop over it.
Yeah, looking across the bank is still part of this insane hex here. The other side of it is still just thick foliage and brush. Having left this strange little escarpment behind, it's back to just incredibly dense rainforest, where you can There could be an entire army of sentry claws, and you wouldn't know until you were just 100 feet away from them. But looking across the river, you don't see any signs yet of this village of the elephant people or anything, although you're probably about 10 miles out from it, to be fair. Now, from here, you rest for the night. Renali preparing camp with another huge satchel full of these laden silks, already strung up across some of the larger trunks on the riverbank by the time you arrive. And she will again easily succeed at making camp for the evening, and the group of you will rest. Who wants to roll me a d20?
My turn.
Don't roll poop.
We're fine. This is 16.
Here on the riverbank, strangely almost being more exposed, somehow makes you less likely to be set upon by a lot of the jungle wildlife, as they're kind of reticent to leave the safety of the dense, heavy foliage to stalk the riverbanks themselves. Because, well, rivers and rainforest are home of the things that nobody wants to mess with, even the other scary things in the rainforest. You know water bucks would live here, which is basically a dire hippopotamus, and nobody's going to mess with a regular hippopotamus, much less a dire hippopotamus. Imagine a dire hippopotamus. That's why we're not on the ground. But with some shifts, whoever's awake sat up under the mosquito netting, still up off the ground in this massive hammock, safe from the majority of the jungle's dangers. You would all be able to rest easily. The next day, preparing yourselves for another day of journey. Perhaps today, make contact with this strange village and their neat elephants that Beeford really wants to go see. Resume. As you ready this morning, it's almost as if nothing had changed. Almost as if nothing had happened. As if the day before had been some kind of a strange fever dream. Whatever connection you have to your brother, to your druidic order, to that magic, it's just there again. No rhyme or reason or warning as to why it left it happen again.
You'll hear Resme pray in that language that you don't understand. And she'll get up, and it is essentially like yesterday was a dream. Like, she's completely 100% herself. Like, she's happy, she's bouncing around, she's asking everyone questions. She's kind of absent-mindedly petting her raven. You got nothing. Maybe she was on her period.
Lasted a day. She's
One
good now.
day.
One day.
There's elves.
Yeah.
So as you prepare for the morning,
More like women. It's like
here
guy
finally
stuff.
on the riverbank, what are the plans? Esphys had an idea to build a raft. I mean, there's surely plenty of materials nearby. Doesn't seem like it would be excessively difficult, just time-consuming. It would probably take you imagine, a day of downtime and work here to get a relatively suitable and sizable enough raft to float the 7 of you on this river.
I could take you all across the river one at a time.
I'm just thinking long term.
Yeah, we'll probably need to cross the river a couple times.
It's not really a problem. If
Uh-huh.
you don't want to take the time to do a raft, you can just ride on my back.
What?
I'd like to build the raft.
What do you mean ride on your back? You turn into some kind of horse?
Shark, actually.
What?
What?
Alternatively,
I can
What
turn
if
into a
we
shark. You can get
just-
on my back. I go across the river. I eat whatever tries to eat us first. And then I go back to the other side and I grab the next person.
what if we just walk across instead?
That works too.
Who votes for walking across?
You understand how liquid water works,
Do you
right?
understand how magic works, right?
No one
No,
understands
apparently
how
not,
magic
yeah.
works.
That
I have
I
a
vehemently
blessing.
disagree.
I have a blessing that will allow us to simply walk across as if land.
That's fabulous.
That's pretty spectacular. And we can build the raft once we make contact with the elephant people, if it turns out that their knowledge is useful.
It will only last for about 10 minutes, but I'm sure that's enough time for us to cross.
Oh, a brisk run it is then.
Well, half a mile.
It would have been really fun to be a shark, though. Oh well, maybe later.
Okay. Sound like a plan to me.
It does involve our gear getting soaked.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see you work your magic.
All right, bro. What do we got?
Shall we race?
So I'm going to prepare 5 casts of water walking And Wanderer's Guide is, yeah, that's the name. And Wanderer's Guide, just in case we need it. And I'm going to cast them one by one, and just each of us go as I cast it, because it's only 10 minutes long. Don't get caught out there with the spell ending. So
Well, it's only like a third of a mile. It's
yeah,
not
but
a,
if someone's lollygagging,
a serious
Lollygag across the river.
Take more than 10 minutes to cross the river with your water walking feet.
yeah. So we'll all just walk across the river.
I mean, we can race if you want to.
I want to race.
You're gonna leave your friends behind.
Come on. Let's race. This is fun.
So with your shark magic, he just wants to die today. You know what? We're up to 3 now. 3 of the 4 other people who want to wish bodily harm upon this man. It's just Brent left, the last holdout.
Brent doesn't want to hurt anyone. You have to, like, really
This is your
crit
final
fail.
challenge, Derp.
Can you make it before the session's over?
As a ranger, I have the ranger wisdom. I don't have to outrun the danger. I just have to outrun you.
Ranger danger?
I'm really slow.
Yeah,
Rock
that
curiosity, what is shark speed? What is your shark speed?
35.
Yeah, that's not going to be a great race, I don't think. That's going to be... well, if you're not Resme, because nobody's going to run across the...
Oh, I don't even need to turn into a shark if he's going to do the water walking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to race as a shark.
No, I want to race them as a person.
Oh, I thought you wanted to be a shark and race while they were trying to run
No.
across it on foot.
I'm
I
not
misunderstood.
wasting a 3rd level spell on not needing it.
You know?
I'd still beat you.
Fight me.
No, you won't.
I'm honestly
a shark.
surprised. I was 100% positive you'd blow a 3rd level spell across the river.
I mean, we have the track record.
Yeah, I mean, we've clearly established this is in fact a thing we'll do. Anyway,
Maybe later.
you have plenty of methods with which to cross this river fairly easily.
This is the quickest.
So, what do you want, Resme and Resme? I don't want to keep calling her Resme. Renali. There's so many similar names. Renali, Renavo, Resme. What do you want Renali and Valia to be doing? Just to head off over to the other bank and prepare a camp
Yes.
for after you've met with the super friendly elephant people?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Sounds good.
So she'll head across with you. The pair of you making your way with a really easy time with Ruse Magic, honestly. There's no difficulty here whatsoever.
You might get your toes a little wet, but
Yeah, you're literally walking across the surface of nearly still water. As you arrive at the other bank, Renali immediately sets about making camp, while the rest of you head a little further inward to where your map had been marked, where you had gotten Nikita's information to where the elephant people are supposed to be, where their village is located. It's not supposedly very far from the bank. But as you make your way inland, the terrain around you starts to show some unpleasant signs. Fairly severe scarring. The massive trees and the luscious undergrowth give way to scorch and char. The bark of the trees burnt severely. All around the base, the trees having clearly been set in almost entirely aflame.
Have we been here already?
Licked largely to blackened husks. The undergrowth around the base of some of these trees has been almost burnt out entirely. They're just left as blackened little twigs and soot across the ground. Clearly a fairly massive fire raged through this area.
I guess the Cinder Claws have been here.
As you start making your way through this charred jungle, I was going to say, what is everybody doing?
recalling knowledge.
What are you thinking? Esphus?
I'll be seeking.
And you have your shield raised, of course, Buford. How about you, Dalren?
I'll be scouting.
Okay, looking ahead for a cause or source of this.
I'm also going to be seeking.
So as your guard, proceeding very carefully forward, these burnt-out trunks start to give way to a decently sized clearing, maybe about 60, 80 feet across. It's not huge. The center of which is filled with what must once have been a half dozen small wooden huts and homes, all burnt to the ground. Cinders. Razed, destroyed, and utterly charred to ash. The only thing left standing of the village is a single round stone well set in the center of this ring of small little huts.
Stonewell, really.
And near that well are two nearly unrecognizable mashes of what were once bodies. They look like they have been obliterated into the dirt, near unrecognizable. Stampeding around near that are two very ornery looking elephants. They're just kind of there. Massive creatures. Enormous tusks jutting and curving upwards, almost like a mammoth. Their trunks all dragging on the ground as they just seem to aimlessly stir about. As you approach this village and see these burnt out husks of buildings and the elephants, they notice you as well and both turn to face you. They don't rush you to attack or anything, but they clearly are agitated and become much more on guard. Everybody who is seeking, I believe that was Esvis and Dalren and Resme.
I was,
I
yeah,
did.
You
I was scouting.
were scouting.
I was seeking.
So Esvis and Resme, roll me perception
There's
checks here.
elephants.
24.
31.
You will both be able to make out from the far end of the village, from the rubble of one of the homes, a very weak voice. Almost in response to these elephants stomping around, reacting to something, calling out for help.
Rur. Now, to me. And I'm gonna just, wasting no time going straight to the source of that voice.
While they do that, I'm going to cast Speak with Animals, and I am going to try to talk to the elephants so that they do not make my friends into toe jam.
So as you try to move forward, Esvis, as you kind of breach the edge of this village, we're possibly following along with you. The nearest elephant puts his head down, tusks forward, and stampedes at you, charging forward about 10 or 15 feet before turning and pulling off. Not aiming to gore you, but clearly a threatening gesture.
Stop. Let me talk to them first.
Very well.
So with your Speak with Animals,
And this will let me use diplomacy to talk to them
Yes.
instead of nature.
as you step forward, this elephant now back by the well, its head down, just making thrusting motions towards the group of you with its tusks, scooping its head up towards you, stamping its feet.
She'll hold her hands up and take a very defensive, very non-threatening posture and say, "We came here to help. We don't want to hurt you or anyone you consider to be under your protection. Somebody looks like they're injured. Please let us help. We mean no one any harm."
Then make me a diplomacy check. That's what it looks like. Please don't step on.
Hammer time. That's going to be a session reroll.
So while this is, while she's trying that, were you recalling knowledge?
Yes.
What's your nature modifier?
12. Yeah, 12.
So 12.
On a different die, or
And a hero point coming through. Kados feeds this day.
Kados feeds this day. Thank you very much, Miss McSlushy.
marginally better.
So you would know. You would
Just
know
re-roll it.
what is clearly apparent from just the sheer size of these things and these tusks. Elephants are fairly simple but incredibly deadly creatures. Should this come to blows, it's not impossible that you could just fight your way through them if you need to, but they are massive.
This is after my
Yeah.
halfling luck.
Wow, this is like your 5th reroll on this.
We're not talking about it anymore.
massively dangerous creatures through sheer brute force
Are
alone.
you kidding me right now?
They don't even have to attack you, like just walking over you.
One more.
Last hero point,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Hold on. Just take the purple one. It's been rolling good.
Don't a halfling luck says reroll 3 hero points. Elephants, please!
Oh, thank
Are
God.
you kidding me?
No, it was a 19.
Oh, okay. I thought you rolled a 1
No,
third
no, it was
time
a
in a row.
19. So 19 plus 14 is
33.
going to be a 33.
33.
Through the power of purple.
Thank
Through
you.
the sheer power of chance
Thank you,
intervention
chat.
directly.
I love you so much right now.
5
We nearly
rerolls
died.
later. Good news. Good news.
33.
So you were saying elephants can just run
12,
over
not
us.
gonna let you sit at 0.
I love you.
Let's make get this roll. He wants it. He doesn't want to see you get trampled by elephants.
Thank you.
You seem to impress upon this elephant your good intentions. And it's very upset. Takes a few steps almost over to the side, away from you, more towards Esvis. Head still bowed towards him, but turning its attention off of you almost entirely.
He's not gonna hurt anyone either. Can we please go through and help the person who is maybe your friend?
He really, well, while he clearly understands your words, you're speaking with animals directly. It's not even just empathy. It's not even just a wild empathy. It's a direct conversation. The elephant just does not seem willing to trust anybody else but you.
That's fine.
Not without their own.
Rur, give me your healing.
The potions. Here, take some of them.
I could attempt to let it.
No, this is fine. I'll take some of the potions, and she'll very carefully and very slowly walk across to where the person's hurt, to where she can hear them.
As you move around this well here, you hear this voice coming from this furthest back building at the far side. And as you look inside, you can see a elderly Wongi man trapped inside the rubble of this house. His leg pinned underneath a fairly massive timber that the fire had collapsed down onto him. As you come in, Wongi. Whatever holy beings still watch these lands, please. I've not the strength to move this beam.
Stay still. Stay still. How big is it?
It's pretty hefty. It's gonna be far beyond what you could use telekinetic
shrink
power to
item.
move. How much?
It's
What is
gonna
the limit on shrink
80
item?
bulk.
Well, you can shrink item temper. So
I'm gonna turn it into a toothpick.
with your spell, you get some value out of this shrink item. This
I
is,
told you, it is the best spell in the book.
Best
It
spell
is
in the book.
actually. I can't argue with this. It's spectacular. Every situation. I'm amazed at the number of situations it seemed like they can just be solved.
You don't even know the number of situations I thought of to use this.
Well, there
A
you go.
large physical obstruction can be removed from the game entirely.
As you shrink this massive
Very
timber
useful.
yet down to a pencil, more or less, you can see the man is fortunately largely unharmed. His leg where his pinned under the log appears to be broken and is cut through, bloodied, and fairly raw, but he's otherwise mostly okay.
Pour some Robitussin on
It also does not look like he's been here
Terribly long.
But at that, he slowly slides himself backwards just a little,
Sit.
grimacing in pain as that leg
Sit.
moves.
Here, take this. And she'll give him a healing potion.
He drinks the healing potion. It's not enough to fix the bones in his leg, but it is enough to pull together where the timber had actually just sliced through and split his skin, leaving his leg bloodied and dirty, still broken, but looking much better.
Probably not going to get infected
Yeah,
and
it's not
turn
gonna-
gangrenous.
Yeah, he's not gonna die of infection.
Um,
Now, meanwhile, the elephants are still pretty aggressively keeping the rest of the party at bay.
That's
at the edge
fine.
of town.
I
We're not
think
even
I
trying to
can
approach.
actually kind of maybe get him up, and do you think I can get him out of here if he leans on me?
And as you start, as you're in here, getting closer, this other elephant nearest to you is angrily stomping his feet and trumpeting and waving his head around as you get close to the men. But he doesn't come any closer. He doesn't make any effort to come to the building or anything. He just is very upset. It's a very unhappy elephant.
Can you speak with them?
He turns and doesn't even say anything so much as just makes a series of quick clicks with his tongue. And the elephant sways its head back and forth a bit before receding a couple of steps. Again, Mwangi, lend me your shoulder. Help
course.
me stand.
Here, lean on me.
Oh! And he stands up, leaning on you, and calls out in one hand, Babu! Babu! And makes the same clicking noises, turns towards the other elephant, which wheels up, turns around, does much the same thing. And you see him kind of calm and just walk over towards the pair of you. Both elephants now just kind of standing right outside this far hut, turning away from the rest of the group. And that second elephant approaches all the way up to you, head down, and kind of reaches out with his trunk, just snooting around your general face and the old man.
I will totally let him do that.
And
This is fantastic.
He reaches up with an arm to pat the trunk. Oh, thank you, Abo. Oh, I am sorry. There was nothing.
They're just protecting the village.
They understood my pain, but not how to help. They have been only growing more angry by the hour. Oh. He pats the elephant's trunk, the other one at the corner of the building, a little more shy. Kind of bleakly trumpets quietly towards the ground. And the man looks over and sees the rest of your group over there. They will not harm your friends. Please.
She'll motion you guys over. He needed more help than this potion could provide.
Now you guys can clearly see one of his legs is completely broken. It's like an unpleasant angle to look at.
Yeah.
Like it's a.
I was able to get the skin closed up with it, but that's about it.
Unfortunately, we might have to open that back up if it's this bad. We'll definitely have to find a place to set you down and properly take care of this.
And he's still talking only in Mwangi, so you can understand him. You can Mary's can translate for the rest
Yeah, I'm
of you.
translating.
If you're going to focus on him, I'm going to scout and arrow down longbow and just start.
Try to find out how long ago this happened.
As you relay that to him, I only returned back last afternoon, and I had just been looking to see if there was any way to repair the village, if it was beyond hope. I poked around and disturbed the wrong beam. There was far more damage than I'd imagined.
I understand.
It was my own fault that collapsed to me, but I am pleased that, at the very least, if nothing else, at least Babo and Ox have returned. Most of the herd fled into the jungles. We haven't been able to find most of them.
I'm assuming that this was the Cinder Claw's doing.
We're just assuming you're relaying everything.
Well, he can speak more.
Yeah,
Oh, you can speak Wongi, you're right. The cultists, the boggards, and the Charuka, they descended upon us with fangs and fire. They tried to take the elephants from us. For what reason, I can't imagine, but... And he gestures vaguely towards the two obliterated corpses near the well. They were unable to assert their will over these beasts.
I would imagine it would be very difficult if you didn't raise them up from babies to have a relationship with them, if I know anything of animals.
These creatures are wiser than their appearance lets on. They could sense the evil in their hearts.
I've often found that animals are much more wise than humans in many ways.
None of you are Ekujai.
No.
Well, human. And he's clearly saying this towards Buford as she translates this. What has brought you to the expanse?
That's a very long story. Perhaps we should get you taken care
You
of
kinda-
a little bit.
Tries to sling off your shoulder, and you sort of help him down to sit on the ground and just lean up against the outside of the building so you can rest this broken leg here. Oh, 1,000 lives I owe you. A debt that will never be repaid, not just for myself, but Max and Babu. Whoever you are. This looks back towards the house. This would have been a truly miserable end.
It is,
To rot, starvation, or thirst. Whichever hand took me first.
think nothing of it. It is an honor to have been of service. Please, rest for a little bit, and we will get to explanations. You must be in a great amount of pain.
There will be plenty of time for explaining what's going on while I take care of his leg.
The pain is largely dulled over the day.
That's not necessarily good either.
Swelling, the bone starting to set itself
It
at
does
an odd angle.
look kind of bad. It's going to take you a pretty decent amount of effort to
This
to
is
lean
like-
in and try to split this into something
Yeah.
functional.
That would not be a quick fix. That
So
is not a battle medicine
As
check.
you're scouting around the outside of this,
So she is wearing the necklace of a Mwangi linguist. So
she does have Nikita's necklace on, right?
So I didn't know if that would affect his interaction with
He
me at all.
doesn't
I just
seem
wanted to.
recognize it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Cool.
He does recognize. He just recognizes you're not Akujai. He doesn't seem to make any particular.
Okay.
connection to
The
that.
Akujai don't have any friends, so no one really knows what their stupid
This
necklaces
is why we
mean.
can't have nice things.
He's not wrong though.
She will start her explanation simply saying that they came here through magical means, chasing the Cinder Claws, who had invaded their lands far away as well through a magical portal.
So as you're catching up, Esvis scouting around the camp here, making a survival check.
Okay. 26.
So 26, you can tell that this damage, all this burning, the fire must have been truly massive, but it's burnt its entire course. It's gone. It's nothing now. This must have been done days ago.
Okay.
It's not so old as the ash and char has really started to blow away, but there's no embers burning even in the hearts of the trees. So it gives you a general estimate that at least a few days ago, there doesn't appear to really be any sign that anyone has come or gone since then, but it appears that from the tracks you can find through the ash and the mire, that a fairly large force of Cinder Claws had come in from the east, attacked this village, and absolutely unmissable, the stampeding footprints of the elephants who had just charged south out into the jungle, and a mixed panic. It looks like they had near a dozen of the animals around the houses.
Any sign of the people that you can
There
find?
are also a whole lot of human footprints as well that are kind of difficult to make out around the elephant giant stomps. But between that and the situation of the buildings themselves, it doesn't really look like the Cinder Claws actually killed very many people, if anyone. It looks like they may not have even made any effort to, so much as they just came to burn the whole place to the ground.
Are the human footprints, like, are the other people's footprints, like, mingled towards the south in the same direction?
They look like they've also just ran to the south. They do scatter pretty widely as they just fled when the Cinder Claws attacked.
From what I can tell, this happened at least a few days ago, probably maybe within the week. Cinder Claws came with a very, very large force. They came for destruction, not for killing. Panic set in. Most of the elephants went to the south. some people followed, but it's mostly scattered.
So the tribe still exists then. That's good.
And as Resume's talking to this man, he introduces himself. I am Kanade. Most of my people did manage to escape. The Cinder Claws have made nearly no effort to stop us from fleeing. Didn't come to attack, simply to bring destruction and fire and ruin upon us.
I think they wanted your elephants.
Well, they had arrived some time ago. Maybe
Kanade?
maybe 10 days past. With a small force, largely of these boggers. They're not of this place. They're frogmen.
We're familiar.
Walk. And after some of their number were trampled underfoot, they retreated. And returned some days later with much greater numbers and fire. Simply to destroy our tribe and our home. They made no efforts then to gain anything. It was spite. Sheer, plain and simple.
Well, wanton destruction does seem to be how they operate. I'm so sorry.
We have survived. They did not stop our retreat. As scattered, but at least our people have largely returned together. I imagine, while this seems largely beyond repair, we should have no major difficulty starting anew. This will not end us.
Like the forest, sometimes when a thing burns, you have to start over to make yourself stronger.
I only hope that we're able to recover more of our companions. We have some, but they fled in blind panic. They are strong and hardy beasts, but ill-fitted to surviving in a feral situation, I fear.
Maybe we need your help as well, but maybe we can help you find them.
The ones here, these two may be the calmest of our lot. Our best hunters and scouts have tracked them into our favor. They're not good at covering their tracks.
Perhaps in order to track an animal, it is more helpful to be one. And I can talk to them.
No, please, you owe us no further favors. You've done... I don't even know who you are.
Oh, that's very rude of me. I'm Resme, Rur, Esvis, Buddy, and Master Dolren.
You've all clearly traveled far into this land. I'm sure you've some purpose of your own that drives you. Of course, we won't stand in your way, but I'm afraid my people have no aid to offer you.
But you might have information, and that's what we seek more than anything.
I can certainly impart what little I know. What is it you seek?
The Cinder Claws, we want to bring them down. They are an evil and a blight upon this land, and to do that, we have to understand more about how they operate and why they're here. I'm not mentioning the Epujai at all.
Right. They seem to make few friends. That much is certain. But all I know of them is their descent upon this village. This blight was birthed anew from nothing, rising from dirt and ash itself, as far as I can tell, near overnight. I'm afraid there's little I can tell you.
Do you know anything about a darkness, or when you travel, is your vision obscured at all, or can you travel freely through the forest?
We've had no interaction. We've met no darkness. Nothing of the sort. The rest of our hunting grounds have been left untouched. They came just to lay waste to our homes.
Alright. Let's get you back to your people and healed up, and then maybe we can see what we can do about finding your friends.
We're in no state to receive guests, to honor you properly, but this is a debt owed indeed. With this creature's help, my leg is well enough, and with Max and Bobo, I will be able to ride safely back to my people. If you can but help
Wait
me.
a minute, you're telling me you can ride these things?
He's speaking in Wongate.
Yeah,
Oh, God damn it!
That's why I'm translating as he talks.
I'm not gonna translate
leave
that
that part
verbatim. I'm not gonna translate that verbatim. I'm gonna
Okay.
say my friend Buddy has heard legends about these elephants, and he was sort of looking forward to maybe getting to ride one.
Oh, well, I didn't. Well, I didn't know.
That's monkey. You have no idea what you said.
Well, I didn't say anything, but I guess that's fine
Huh?
because I didn't understand what he was saying, right?
She's translating as he talks.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, she would have translated that as you said that.
Yeah.
You would have yelled out. So and he just kind of smiles. Well then, it is the greatest reward I can offer, perhaps.
At least while I take the time to treat your leg.
Help. He reaches up out to Bubba's trunk, and both elephants are just standing like right next to you as this is happening, just still back, kind of just milling about as they were when you first arrived. Much calmer now as they seem to get a sense that you are friends and you're helping. He reaches out a hand, and Bubba's trunk kind of, sort of wraps around it a bit, and he says some things in Longi and clicks his tongue a couple of times, and then tugs a bit on the trunk. And claps twice, and then puts both his hands on the ground in front of him. And Babo holds his trunk underneath him and puts his head down, his tusks on the ground, almost kind of kneels down on his front knees, head bowed. And his hand still on the ground, Kanade turns. He understands.
So how do I get on this thing? Do I just like one step?
Perhaps should remove some of this marding your friend wears. I don't know if the metal will disturb him.
You should take off your armor.
I'm gonna like strip off my pants, like
Just flex and boom.
And
Somehow
My
the
body
helmet
is
comes
ready.
out from under the hat.
No.
and
The
stays on.
hat never moved. It just stayed
It
there.
pops into the air and settles.
Buddy, wanna climb up on an elephant?
I sure do. These are kind of stupid-looking animals, but I am ready to go.
Not translating that either. He's so excited.
So
How do I get on this thing? Where's the step ladder? How do I? Where do I put my feet here?
now, even kneel down, its shoulders probably 8 feet up off of the
I know. I'm
ground.
looking for a place
Maybe
to
you can
leverage
give him
here.
a.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
yeah,
Here,
sure.
here. Give me.
Just gonna boost.
Up
Up on the back of the elephant.
I'm just like flopped over the top of it.
As you get up there,
Wriggle.
the elephant kind of like looks up, still kneeling down but confused. Its trunk was back up over its head, just sort of feel like whatever it's sitting
It's
on.
got a hold
its
of
back.
me. Hey,
No,
hey,
it's fine.
hey.
It's just
Does it
it's
kinda
getting to know
sniffs?
you.
It just blows some snot. across.
I think
your
this one.
face and your chest.
Wow.
I think it's
whoa.
trying to make you smell like it. It's to calm you down, I'm sure. It was hilarious.
It likes you. That's a sign of love.
Oh, that's a very kind of you, elephant. I guess I'll swing my leg over.
And as Kanade picks his hands up and claps them together again and puts both of them up, the elephant stands up and you
Get me off of this thing! This thing's going crazy!
Just stay where you are.
literally just stands up. This doesn't
Get me off it!
Climb up.
Get me off of
You
this
almost
thing!
certainly can't reach Dalren down below you.
Just calm down.
You're fine, I'm
He's
sure.
just standing there. As he starts screaming,
Rory, you better be ready to split
start a
some
little
bones.
bit, and it just moves a couple steps, kind of.
I'm gonna
backwards.
bail. Bail. I'm gonna just leap off of this thing.
So you just dive off of the elephant, and you're just hit the
Down
dirt.
to the
You're gonna
ground.
take eight bludgeoning damage for falling about 16 feet.
So I look so disgusted and embarrassed, and like the emotions that are going over Resme's face right now.
Did you see me wrangle that thing? I've never seen anything. Man, I had that thing in a headlock. I don't think it could even move. Man,
as you,
I want to try
fall
that.
off, the elephant doesn't move at all. You just dive, hit the ground, and it just kind of turns and looks at you and takes a step away. And
I'll definitely help tell Bonnie this.
Kanade spins up a bit.
You better
He bumped his head yesterday. I think it's addled his brains a bit. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
Now, Esmith, you better tell Bonnie about the
lucky.
size. Made a make it like it was at least 18 feet. I mean, look at the
Perhaps
size
hit
of that
will
thing.
fix it.
We can only hope.
I mean, I think that's at least 20 foot tall now that I really get a good look at it from over here.
It's a rite of passage among our people to tame one of these beasts.
Maybe I could have a try.
But I don't
rodeo.
know that I've ever seen one quite like that.
Well, Buddy's an original.
The elephant just looks confused. I'm like,
Thought you were gonna ride me. What's going on?
as you
I'm
fall
gonna-
off, he just kind of goes back to poking
I'll
his...
tip my hat at the
Trump.
elephant. You're
Not even
real-
looking at you anymore.
Well, I'm gonna tip my hat. Doesn't change what I'm doing.
Can I give it a try?
I suppose I see no problem. These beasts, my people, share our lives with. They are as brothers as our own kin.
I
We
want
survived through them and they through us.
to make friends.
You spoke to Babo when you arrived. I heard, as did he.
Yes.
You spoke better than any of my people ever could. You have a connection with these creatures.
Yeah, I'm pretty weird.
Perhaps. But, he puts his hands on the ground again. And again, the elephant turns to him and just,
It's like, you got to be kidding me.
and then puts his head down and gets down on his
Looks
elbows
resigned.
Again. Fine. And Kanade laughs.
Let's see if you can last longer than Buddy did.
Don't worry, I loosen them up for you, Resme.
They are prideful creatures, and he does not appreciate what he sees as a waste of his talents.
I'll let Dalrin boost me up, and I'll kind of use my legs to stay steady while I hold on to its neck with my hands.
As he pulls the elephant up again, it stands up, is surge another 4 or 5 feet upwards as it stands tall. And again, he sniffs a little, but instead of just sticking a trunk in your face, he sort of just sniffs around in your legs spread wide over the beast's neck. It just kind of stands there.
I'll recast Speak with Animals. And I'll thank him very much for letting me get to know him, and I'll tell him that I really want to help find his brothers, the ones that ran off. Do you know where they would go?
So, speaking with animals, he's still only an elephant.
Although they are very intelligent.
I mean, yeah, like a dog is. So I mean, they're not like he can't respond like he cannot talk back to you. But
Right.
he can.
I'm trying to get an idea across.
A general impression. So yeah, kind of trumpets sadly again. He turns very subtly, and with a couple of just slow steps, stomps his way to the southern end of the village, right around the ring of huts. He puts his head down and just snorts out towards the general southern jungle.
Thank you. Is there anything you want? You've done me a great service, and you're very loyal. What kind of food do you like?
And he
Is it granola?
slowly turns back around. It's like a wheeling, slow rotation, very gentle, back towards the town, and just kind of stomps over towards the stone well, and just sticks his trunk down the well.
Is there food down there?
Probably water.
Probably water.
Oh, he wants water. How deep down is the water?
As he starts drinking, the other elephant also comes over and sticks his trunk down. Kanade calls out, They truly listen to you when you speak. This is a miracle.
I guess you could call it that, sure.
They have
Well, that's not quite a miracle.
been distressed. They would not drink or forage for themselves since I collapsed that beam upon myself. Must truly be thirsty.
Yes, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're hungry
As he sticks
too.
his head down towards the well, he's just kind of sitting. The seat on his neck slopes forward about 30 degrees just towards the well itself. But nestled back behind his ears, you just feel this kind of lurch forward, and it's almost a little difficult to stay on. There's not much to hang on to on the back of an elephant.
There's always Buddy's way down.
No, I'm all right. Perhaps before you drink some more, you'd be willing to let me down.
Kind of step back, his trunk just slowly pulling out, where he just snorts with a pretty big blast of water across the side of the well, and kneels back down until you slide off his shoulder onto the ground.
She'll give him a low bow and say thank you. And walk back over.
The greatest gift I or any of my kin could offer do seem to be wholly worthy of simply taking yourself.
She'll blush at that a little and look a little awkward. But she'll smile and she'll say, he thinks that his brothers went south. That way.
Well, look at them footprints. I would say that's about right.
He's very sad. I think they
Believe
miss them very much.
We will find them in time. Hopefully, by the time I'm reunited with my brothers and sisters, our herd will have returned to us. Esme, and all of your friends who have the gratitude of an old man and his people.
Let's
And
get.
you, strange creature.
If I could speak Mwangi, he's a bird.
This should be enough to allow me to ride. If one of you can aid me onto Babu's shoulders. And
Yeet.
just constantly helping this old man up.
I'll be a little more careful.
His broken leg splinted now as he carefully takes position on the back of the elephant. Sitting kind of hunched over and forward, his hands almost where the elephant's ears meet its head. You are no Ekajai. That much is certain.
That's for sure. For our own peace of mind, would you mind very much if we escorted you back just to make sure nothing else happens to you?
It is some days' travel, and still I don't know yet if my kin have quite settled. But Babu, he is a wise creature. He will find the path.
Well, if it isn't too far, I can tell you that traveling with us is much faster.
That I certainly doubt. You are kind folk. You owe nothing to an old man here left. The dangers of his own foolishness, but still, you have given me more time than I deserve. For your sakes and ours. Bring wrath down upon these cultists, as they have rained their fire upon us.
Have your people set up nearby, someplace where we could come and see you again after this is settled?
We have not yet settled. Well, not as when I left, alone, afoot. We could not risk stopping if the cultists still pursued us. They seem to have had no interest. I came back alone to scout and search, as I have had my years. And if they still lay here waiting, it would be no great loss. There's little life left to live, but you have hopefully given me some more stories to tell yet.
Helped by a hairy small creature.
Certainly, the opposite of those I normally owe my life to.
I'm not
Clapping the back
hairy.
of the massive hairless creature he's currently sitting on.
She looks vaguely insulted. Well, we're gonna go see if we can rain some revenge for your sake.
And may you leave behind even greater stories in your wake. He claps again and then kind of leans forward. And the elephant with a last trumpet just kind of starts stomping his way down to the south. Max, the other elephant, slowly following behind as they begin to travel.
That was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
I certainly hope that his leg will be okay, though. It was quite the break.
Well, I'm sure they've seen broken bones before. Thankfully, I'm sure
That
his
man
people-
had a 180-degree angle on his ankle.
He's doing the ankle. It was like his femur when the thing hit
The
and just
femur.
shattered it.
Oh.
Yeah,
boy.
that was like a. That was not a good situation.
All right, so his thigh was folded on itself. I don't think he's going to be quite okay.
He hopefully there's many people who can take care of him. Hope there's somebody at his destination to get him off that elephant once he arrives.
I'm sure. For the time being, I'd have at least a bearing for where the Cinder Claws came from.
Yes, but I find it very odd. I mean, it seems very uncharacteristic of these Cinder Claws to come in here and just scare some people. It seems like they do a lot of killing mostly, and don't you find that odd?
We have met only specific instances of them. They may
Well,
have
in
just-
every instance, they just go in and kill people, so I don't understand why. Don't you think that's odd, Esmith? You don't find that?
I don't find it odd that they didn't kill anyone here. I think that they just wanted to throw a temper tantrum, but at the
Yeah, but
same
if they're
time,
here anyways, I mean, why not just go kill all the people? They don't seem like they're very strong. This guy was like 108 years old.
but
This guy. And also, it seems that originally, judging from what Resme was able to relay, they originally came here seeking to take the elephants to make use of them, but once they found that the elephants would have nothing to do with them, then perhaps, I mean, it could simply have been a strategic decision. If they can't have the elephants, they don't want anyone else having them.
Well, it'd be a lot easier if there were no people to have the elephants at all.
Well,
I don't
if
know.
it-
They seem to be have an easy time burning the huts down. Chasing down an entire village full of fleeing, scattering people is actually a lot more difficult than you think it is.
plus if they received the unwelcome welcome of being crushed by the well when they first came, then trying to attack the villagers would no doubt invoke the wrath of these elephants, as we saw just walking in.
It may
And
be
as
possible.
you're now kind of just standing here left alone in the burnt ruins of this village, around the well, these two bodies, well, there's very little left of them that hasn't been mashed into a two-dimensional smear in the dirt. Little bits of skin and obliterated flesh, making clear these are the corpses of two boggards that were trampled into complete non-existence.
What are the chances that 2 Cinderclaw symbols survived the trampling?
And should we even take
You
them?
have to dig them up at this point.
We didn't kill these.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah,
So-
we take our trophies.
But maybe there's something. Maybe we can find some sign. Maybe one of the invaders dropped something. Maybe if you look around, maybe we can find some evidence of where they came from, or just some more information.
I know where the tracks are. I
You
can show
would
that.
definitely know the
That's
tracks
useful.
led out to almost the due east from here, where they had come in, like east northeast. Otherwise, the village itself looks like everything that had not been destroyed and burnt to cinders that could have even conceivably been of value had been either looted or taken by the elephant people as they fled. There is nothing here but ruin.
All right.
I'll relay that.
Unfortunately, it also seems that the only lead Nikita had to give you has been burnt away by the Cinderclaw cultists.
It may be.
It did give us a direction, though.
They did, and from here on, with the tracks of the Cinderclaws leading east, we have a feeling that probably the Cinderclaws are to be found on this side of the river.
This is, however, a sizable force. This is not some scouting party.
Of course, we are in a war zone after all. We'll have to be cautious. But if we're to strike out and try to keep Breach Hill safe from further incursions, it seems only fitting that we go where the enemy is strongest.
They were so sad. Their sadness felt almost human. It was just really unexpected. They were mourning.
You find family in strange ways.
I feel kind of guilty for letting him go off alone. We saved his life. Doesn't that kind of make him our responsibility?
No, he's
Nope.
still responsible
I
for his
don't
decisions.
see how that works.
Nevertheless, he will walk the path in safety. Whereas for the rest of us, let's gather ourselves, and let's get camped. And when the morning comes, let's follow this trail. I think we have a few Cinderclaws to pay back.
I agree.
And I can't set any of them on fire.
Does
Sure
it
you
meet
can.
Sure you
back-
can.
Well, a question.
What's up?
We haven't used a good portion of our day because we pretty much walked across the river and then walked to here.
Well, that has traveling and then finding this tiny village just like 80 feet across and 10 miles of trackless jungle, map notwithstanding, has probably taken most.
Probably
most
took
of
a
the day.
minute.
Yeah,
Probably
you've got about enough day left to meet back up with Renali near the bank and camp for the evening.
Okay.
So
Today
the,
is going to be pretty largely spent.
the consideration when traveling east, do we follow these tracks to the jungle or do we take the river?
Well, you did bring up a good point of not being seen and being out in the open. If we take the time to create a raft in this case, would probably be a bad idea, especially considering the east. But the river will give us food and water.
Our provisions are well stocked.
True.
I mean, if we've got tracks, I mean, why not follow them? It'll be hard to find them again.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
As long as they're as fresh as they can be, I'll follow them as best I can.
One good thing about a forest this large, they leave quite a trail.
So the group of you, plans in hand, headed back to Renali and Valia, where plenty of fresh new silk lays ready to hang another night's camp up in the trees in relative safety.
Valia sitting, looking slightly haunted.
The bag.
Valia
it
perhaps
has no
is
end.
not directly around while silk is mystically being acquired and helping in other ways,
She was still swimming across.
gathering some food, bits of food or water as she can to help offset how much of your rations you have to eat, even though the magic sack does appear to be damn near infinite. She is going to once again put the camp together, and as she hangs the silk up through the trees and sets the netting, the group of you prepare to sleep for your evening here, head out the next morning. And as you rest, going through your various watches, down here near the river, close to the village, things start to feel a little more bitey. There seems to be a lot higher activity of insects, both Dolly and Wingy, around here. And you get, it's not the greatest sleep of your life, regardless of the fact that you're up in this hammock. It only seems to help so much to offset this on this marshy southern bank of the river. I am going to need everybody to make me a fortitude save.
27.
24.
I'm
Yeah.
using a hero point, everyone.
proud of
She's doing it!
Link 1429 in ancient times.
10,000 years ago.
In
That's
ancient
as well.
times.
you. I'm very proud of you. You're great.
Mine
For a
is
nat 20. Thank you, Link. Thank you very much.
mine is from Mirne 1116.
Alrighty.
I also rolled a nat 20 for a total of 30.
31.
I think I have the lowest.
What do you
24.
24.
34.
So as long as all you awaken in the morning, you have a fair bit more
Bit.
You got some itchy bumps across your bodies, and when you wake up for your morning business, before you start really preparing, a little unpleasant. Your stomachs aren't feeling super great. But nobody seems to be terribly worse off for wear. It's just generally less enjoyable.
Nah, it's this
All
ain't.
around.
Don't be grumping around. This ain't nearly as bad as tick season.
My ears are itching.
Your ears are
And
swollen.
don't start itching your ears again. That was real awkward.
I may need to stop a couple more times than usual today, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think she's still on that time of the month here.
A couple of you might.
I was actually referring to the other direction, if you must be so crude.
Valia
The
has
other
just
dir-
withered into non-existence in the She's turned
Fades back
completely
into the
away
bush.
from the party, just polishing one spot on her breastplate very aggressively.
All the paint on it's gone. It's just
cringing into herself until she disappears into a single atom.
The nets only seem to protect you so much, and you hesitate to imagine the absolute hell world you would be in if you didn't have them. But
We'd be like, good luck, leopard clan.
several days deep into a jungle exploration is certainly starting to take a little bit of a toll. Now, where are we heading?
That's
with
not
this
an atoll, that's a river.
I mean, we're just following the.
I just want to die today, clearly.
Strike 5!
You got 13 minutes to piss Brent off.
We're following the tracks,
Let's follow
right?
the tracks wherever they go.
Whenever they go.
What do you want?
Show the way.
The tracks seem like they are going to lead you, we'll say up one, east northeast, up this direction. What do you want Renali to do? Head ahead and make camp, or scout an additional hex?
Camp.
Or
Camp.
camp.
I'm not
Yep.
sleeping on the ground ever
Which
again.
Show the Way is only going to give us the one square today.
Yeah.
Or the one hex.
It is only the one, indeed. So, the two of you, her heading forward, the rest of you following, move into another nearby hex with your day's travel. Rur's magic accelerating you a little bit, but not quite enough to mechanically get you 2 hexes. And as you explore the region, scouting around, looking for signs of anything, really, you can tell that the ground here on the southern side of the river is getting significantly marshier. The jungle is heading from a sturdy, almost in places rocky, just large rainforest to almost a bog outright.
We're
Well,
not
so-
going through a bog.
The
What?
raft might be a better idea at this point.
It's not-
Boggarts.
I was
Sorry.
wondering who was going to say it first.
I get the name now! But,
I'm going to hurt everyone.
it's not terrible going. It's not, you're not like wading through water or anything. The ground is just getting softer, and there are errant, stagnant pools scattered around much more frequently than they had been on the northern side.
A
And
marshing we will go.
catching
A
up with
marshing.
Renali, having still really found nothing throughout this jungle save the elephant people's camp and, well, a random ooze. She has all of the silk and everything set for another hammock, and this time, with a day to prepare a little further inland, you almost don't even notice her set up before she brings you into it. Here with the bog and the density of the foliage, how everything is, she's actually able to camouflage this pretty spectacularly well. So your bird's going to be almost invisible from the outside. You're actually going to have no chance of encountering anything whatsoever.
Does this mean that the mosquitoes and the bugs won't be able to see us either?
Maybe.
You.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll disbelieve our existence.
As you rest another night, bringing you to the weekend, if anyone's still counting.
Oh, we missed our oath day. I hope that doesn't cause problems later on.
You get back to Breach Hill.
Hi.
There will be hell to pay. How do we continue heading? Keep following the tracks?
Well, I'm of two minds here. Given the nature of the river, it might not be a bad idea to have Renali scout the other
tracks-
side as we go.
The tracks do seem to follow mostly along the riverside. And have headed east-northeast, turned a little bit more north back towards the river, and it seems like they marched just some ways inland, but almost parallel to it as they went.
So, given the importance of the river, we could actually, with Renali's help, scout both sides of the river as we move east.
So with you show the way, today you'll be able to scout out 2 hexes as you continue, and Renali will be able to meet with you in the evening to tell you what she's found in one of them. So you guys want to continue following the tracks, and
Yes.
you want Renali to go north?
Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So she'll scout this out with Valia and meet back with you in the evening.
If she's scouting north, is it appropriate to ask what's up?
Not responding to that. As you proceed 1 and then 2 hexes further into the jungle, the land only becoming more and more of a marshy bog the further you travel. With afternoon wearing on as you reach this far distance here, it even starts to open up a bit more. The canopy started clearing out into an area of almost just scattered murky pools and twisting low creek beds. There is an island visible near the middle of this large bog where you can see the first sign of any other sentient life since you met the elephant people. There is a completely demolished and torn asunder campsite set up in the center. It does not look like the Cinder Claw's haphazard arrangements that you saw underneath the Citadel Altarian. It looks like something that, well, people would use. Normal tents who have any care about accommodations whatsoever, gathered around what was once a fire pit dug in the center of the island.
Possibly a particular research
The Strathmore.
excursion.
It's not a
Stop more.
particularly
They
large.
call it Strathmore.
It's not a particularly large area or camp. Rather, it looks like it only housed a couple of people, 2 or 3, 4 at most. So possibly,
Maybe a
reckon
scouting
let's-
party?
you
Yeah.
don't actually know
How many?
how many
Yeah.
people he brought with him.
I reckon let's check it out.
But there's definitely another thing that would be immediately very, very visible there, which would be a pair of enormous
Trees.
somethings.
Rocks. Inanimate things.
They are
Spiders.
trees, rocks, and animate things. Unfortunately, it does not look like it is going to be trees, rocks, or inanimate things.
Ah, I was afraid of that.
Very much look like it is the opposite of trees, rocks, or inanimate things in that it is
Animate
animate,
and hostile.
giant creatures of some kinds. They actually look to be reptilian
Are
But-
they very rainbow looking?
with massive wings. Rainbow looking?
Yeah, the tropical dragon dog things that rampaged in the Citadel.
Oh, dragon dogs.
Yeah.
What does
does
Rambo
Rambo have to do
looking
with
come
it?
from that?
Their tokens had multiple colors.
Rambo was
How does that?
Rainbow?
You need the
Oh,
talking thing.
rainbow. You said
Yeah.
Rambo. I'm
No, I
imagining
said-
like
I
a
said
big
rainbow.
muscly lizard guy
Yeah,
with
it's
a
like
red
a jack
headband.
with a huge machine
No,
gun.
I said rainbow.
You totally
You did
didn't.
not say Rambo.
Everyone
I
heard.
meant to say rainbow.
Well, you didn't say Rambo. You
Yeah, definitely Rambo.
definitely. I was like, I have no idea what you were attempting to communicate with Rambo looking.
The
But I-
lizard things they brought through the portal.
Are they speaking in really bad English? Like, kind of like,
No.
Not Rambo looking. Not rainbow looking.
They got a red bandana on.
Guys are freaking strange humans.
Oh, look, rocks fall.
Everyone dies immediately. No. They are 2 absolutely enormous. I don't want to use a word that your characters wouldn't know, but I'm having a really hard time thinking of anything else to describe them. So
What's
I'll
the
describe
check?
this to the players, not the characters. Massive pterodactyls that look like they are standing taller than the elephants were.
They're bony lizard
Substantially.
birds.
They are massive, huge, flat, fleshy, almost bat-like wings folded over with hands on the end as they peek through the campsite with enormous 4-foot-long beaks.
I vote we go around.
What do I know about these things?
As you are, I'm sure, recalling knowledge as you move through here. Go ahead and what's your nature?
That is.
well, he's kind of a little
12.
foolish, short, good sense of humor.
It is a giant freaking pterodactyl. But you do realize they don't appear to be. Well, there's nobody in the camp that you can see. They're poking through it like a bear trying to find meat in a picnic basket. They look like they're pretty obviously hungry. And they're just kind of snooting around, hoping to find some amount of a meal. But as the group of you approach and can see them across the expanse here, I'm gonna change this a little bit because they are pretty clearly visible.
I could talk to them and see if they want us to give us a ride.
There we go.
Huh. They are. Oh, God, they're massive.
They are huge.
Hey, buddy, you should knock them over.
And as they're
I still
snooting
vote
around,
we go around.
and you guys get up into range of where you can see the creatures. I had to stall so hard there because this map is so laggy. It took me literally that long to get this up. I have to remake this map. It's my fault that I can afford. Just every single tree is a freaking joke.
Those leaves are really beautiful,
But they're
though.
so pretty.
Look at 'em.
Oh my
Look at them
gosh,
wave.
Squid, they're-
Single one of them's animated, and
they're
it was
so
not worth it.
beautiful.
Sniffing a bit, perhaps hearing the jingling of full plate in the distance, one, then the other, turns towards you. And with a massive beak opening, somehow expecting a caw or something, an enormous rolling roar emanates from within as it hops over towards you. One, almost moving like a weird chicken, a chicken gorilla hybrid, with its wing hands just leaping. The other one jumping up, spreading its wings into the air, soaring out towards you.
I'm terrified and perplexed.
I'm not being eaten.
You look very ready for initiative.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were they coming to talk to us?
No, we definitely do not have time to resolve this particular encounter right
Good
now.
job.
But I
Dirk.
want to.
So next week.
Oh, it's 19.
Oh wait, no, not next week. Next week, we are actually going to be participating in a digital PaizoCon thing that Paizo has
Yeah.
going on too, since we can't have an actual convention, obviously, due to the state of existence right now. And we will be doing a one-shot campaign, which is a follow-up in spirit, but a one-off largely. A spiritual successor, you could say, to the Fall of Plaguestone adventure that we did back on my own personal channel. But when we return back to this adventure the week after that, then we're going to roll some initiative. We're going to roll some initiative on a map where every single tree isn't animated, and it doesn't take me actually 5 minutes to set up an encounter because the map is so freaking laggy. So I will fix that. That'll be cool. We'll consider that our technical issue for the week, because somehow we actually didn't really have one. I barely even dropped any frames. I dropped way less than I usually do, so that's cool. They are gigantic. They are hungry, and they see food approaching in the distance.
Oh, it's us. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Enver has no idea what they are, but at least he knows he has no idea what they are this time, instead of just assuming incorrectly.
Actually, halfling luck.
Yeah.
You want to blow that now?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, and actually did turn it around. Remind me. It'll make way more sense to give you what information you have then.
I'm gonna write that down somewhere.
If write down on an index card or something. We have them here for a reason. Thank
least with a
you
marker.
all for hanging out. Thank you, everybody, for being here, supporting us, hanging through the show. Next week, we finally kill off the Plaguestone crew. Next weekend is going to be Digital PaizoCon. Like I said, they're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff. This channel is going to have a ton of content all weekend when PaizoCon would normally have been running. There's going to be all kinds of panels. There's going to be all kinds of Q&As. And I imagine a whole bunch of looks into stuff that is coming here in the near future. Hopefully we get to see some...
Kobolds.
I want neat stuff about the freaking Advanced Player's Guide, please.
We get to play
Just
kobolds.
inject it into my veins. I want the Advanced Player's Guide so bad. Hopefully we get some more information on that. You will see us. We will be here at, I believe, let me do this right, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. -3. 2 p.m. Pacific. So it would be 1 hour ago now for our brief little one-off. It is very much a one-off. It's a spiritual successor to Fall Plaguestone Adventure. We're going to see Filippo and Marn and Adelpha and Rolgish come back with a new friend to do something briefly, but you don't need any Fall Plaguestone knowledge for this to happen. It's just going to be an actual riot.
But if they wanted Fall of Plaguestone knowledge,
Where would they
If they
find
wanted
it?
Fall of Plaguestone knowledge, I mean, all of those VODs do exist over at twitch.tv/Squitters, which is my channel. You know, if you want to research through an absolutely, like, beautiful, beautiful slog of learning second edition, what might be the most murdery campaign I think Jason Bowman has ever produced for this earth. It worked.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We were in fact winners.
A couple hand waves.
I only had to hand wave one complete TPK. Everything else was largely okay though, because we were playing it to learn things. But there's gonna be all kinds of cool stuff next weekend. You're gonna want to hang out around this channel some, get yourself a ton of Paizo points to give me more villain points, or these guys more hero points, because they did spend a bunch today. And then we'll return to the regular schedule. It's gonna be 2 weeks until I get to throw giant pterodactyls at you guys.
It's morphin' time.
Well, there's nothing to stop you from doing it next week.
I could just put these massive pterodactyls into the level 3 adventure I put together.
I think that's a fabulous
You know,
idea.
if you want to die instantly.
I mean, it is Plaguestone.
Plaguestone,
It'd be
this would be
suitable.
like
It would not be Plaguestone if I didn't kill you in every single encounter, right? Is it really
Yeah.
Plaguestone?
I mean, in
Maybe
all
we can call these
honesty.
things something with a B. I mean, then that would be perfect.
Big birds.
Big birds. Just go.
with beaks.
These
Birds
ears like
with
ducks.
beaks. Again,
Please give them like 5 just
Appreciate-
passive bleed damage.
all you support, everyone, just for being here, hanging out as we putting this all together. Sorry to stall so much to make this map work. I'm gonna fix it. I got 2 weeks to fix this before I remake all this whole thing before the next time we play, so I don't have to delay so hard to get over and get things set up on here. we will see you all hopefully next weekend. Goodbye, everybody.